Hey everybody, it's episode 341 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
It's my birthday.
Happy
And Walnut.
birthday!
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Shit, yeah, it is the 3rd.
Sure. It sure is.
I knew it was your birthday all day. You just reminded me to say happy birthday.
Sure.
No, because you posted on an Instagram story.
I did.
And I saw that, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta text her and happy birthday. And then work became shit. And by shit, I mean it was really stupid. I had no work, and I was just pissed off all day. So I just forgot to text you happy birthday.
Honestly, I didn't even know what today was until I just read it, and even then, it honestly didn't, jump out to me. But because you and Eric are close, right? Eric's in April.
Yeah.
Eric's
a month and 4 days from now.
Yep.
That's, fairly close, though, as far as, birthdays go.
I mean, it's
1/10, less than 1/10 of a year apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me, Anthony, and Papa, I think, are all within a couple days of each other.
Anthony is 7/7, Papa's 7/11. No, is Anthony 7/11?
One of them's 7/11, and the other one is 7/7, and I'm 6/30.
I think it might actually be one of them's 7/7. The other one's a few days after, or 7/11. The other one's a few days after that. No, Papa's birthday is 7/11 because every year on his birthday I go to 7-Eleven for 7.11 ounce smooth Slurpees, and then show him how many I got and say this is the best your birthday I ever had. So yeah, Anthony's is 7/9. Papa's is 7/11. Shahed's is 7/16 or 26. Randall's is somewhere in there as well, and then mine is August 3rd.
And no one cares about yours.
Yeah, I know. Randall's is Randall's
23rd.
Randall's is 23rd. So yeah.
Good job knowing your brother's birthday, Drew.
Yeah.
It'd been really funny if you weren't sure.
Yeah.
Well, how are you guys doing otherwise?
Oh, pretty good. Tired. I walked a lot today because it was real fucking nice out.
Nice.
It was a nice day. After the morning it was a little chilly still.
Yeah.
Nice. At least but where I'm at, 'cause we get all the wind off the water.
True.
Makes for a bad morning walk.
I ended up not walking today when I should have because it was so nice, but I was just... Work had me so pissed off. I was just like, fuck this. And I sat there and watched shows.
Slacker.
Walk it out, man. Get out there.
Well, the thing is, if I were to go for a walk, I'd have to take the dog with me, and he's a pain in the butt just to get ready to go for a walk because he gets so excited for walks that I end up I try to take him for a walk at least 3 to 4 times a week, if not more. But I end up just being it's just not worth it to get him. First, I have to go get dressed myself and put on socks and shoes and a little bit warmer clothes than what I'm lounging around working in. Then I have to get him ready to go out, and then I have to actually go out and make... It's just a pain in the butt sometimes.
I mean, why do you have to bring him with you?
Because he should go for walks anyway, and if I don't bring him with me, he's not going to walk that day, so I'm going to bring him when I go for my lunchtime walk or my after work walk.
That's fair.
It's
also,
yeah.
How hard is it for you to get him ready?
He gets so hyper, and he doesn't wear just a leash, it's a harness that we have to put on him, and he's just so hyper when doing it. Plus, when I go to, just... Say I go to put on pants and socks. He automatically assumes I'm taking him out, and so he's up my butt the entire time.
Well, you just gotta start putting on pants more often. This way he just assumes that pants are not an important...
It's a good call.
...activity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, get him used to me going out without him, because I usually don't. But it's gonna take a while, because... He's used to any time he had been here, when I would leave, it would be me leaving to bring him home. So he still thinks he might think that when I'm getting ready to leave, I'm getting ready to leave to bring him home.
That is possible.
Yeah. So it's just it's like a training process that I have to get into. Plus he's sometimes a handful when walking that I just don't always.
That's mean.
Well,
he doesn't know he's a handful.
He pulls, and so I have to I have to train him to not pull. And so
is the harness a front clip or a back clip?
It's a front clip.
Oh, they usually don't pull as much when they're on those.
He doesn't pull that he doesn't pull super hard, but there will be times he gets just super excited and my arm is all the way straight out forward, and so then I have to actually pull him all the way back, and it turns him around to realize that oh, I'm too far. But you don't know my area. There's a park right up the street that geese will go to that they'll poop on the walkway, so then I have to worry about him eating the geese poop, and then I think
Where like that little baseball field and stuff is?
no, it's a couple blocks from that.
Oh, okay.
And then there's like the other day I brought him there. I think some dog just pooped on the walkway that somebody didn't clean up, and then somebody stepped in and drug it with them a few steps. So, like, he started sniffing that and trying to eat that, and so I ended up cutting the walk short because he was just, like, being too much.
Yeah, I know how that is. Like, I mean, both parks we can walk the dogs to are just constantly covered in goose shit, and the one park that's, like, a little more secluded that has less goose shit, people have been walking their dogs back there, and they're just fucking lazy pieces of garbage and don't pick up after them.
People are lazy.
So there's just...
Sorry, people are lazy pieces of garbage and don't pick up their dog shit in front of my own goddamn house.
Yeah, if anyone ever did that, I'd actually probably chase them down and fucking throw that in their face.
Did I tell that story on? I did that once. Well, I didn't chase them down, but this lady who lives in the apartments like behind my house was walking her dog, and her dog was like this old arthritic dog that honestly probably shouldn't have been out of the house, like kind of like barely able to stand itself. And ends up pooping in my yard as I pull up and get out of my car. And the woman just starts walking, and I'm like, excuse me, you're going to clean that up? And she's like, with what? And I'm like, you're walking your dog. You should be bringing bags to clean shit up. She's like, I don't have anything. I'm like, that's your fault. You need to clean that up. And so my neighbors had thrown out a bunch of logs, like firewood logs, and like there was leftover pieces of that.
You did tell us about this.
And so she ended up grabbing like the leftover bits of logs and picking it up. And I'm like, you don't walk a dog without like poop bags. That's common sense 101 right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like there was one time where before we had Ben, I took Kaylee out, and I had taken her out on the leash without the bag dispenser and didn't really like think about it. And she went, and then I brought her home, got a bag, and then went back to where she shit and picked it up.
Yeah. I have poop scooper, like it's a claw thing, so I'll grab that on my way out, and so if he poops, I just scoop it up, and I find the nearest trash can or walk home with it and then throw it out when I get home.
Yeah, no, like both leashes both of like the leashes we normally walk them on have like bag dispensers. Like they go, we pick it up. If we're at one of the parks, we throw it away. If not, we bring it home and throw it away here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not complicated or difficult.
No, people are just assholes.
Anyway, you guys know what is complicated and difficult?
What's that?
Watching a 4-hour fucking Justice League cut.
Hold on. 4 hour and 2 minute Justice League.
Yeah. So we got some confirmations about the Snyder cut of Justice League this week. It's going to be 4 hours and 2 minutes, which is entirely too long.
Yep.
Apparently it ends on a massive cliffhanger.
Okay.
Of course.
There are no plans for Snyder to make any more DCEU movies.
Yeah.
But originally, he had like a 4-movie plan or something like that for Justice League.
Yeah.
So he just kept his original cliffhanger in there.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? I mean, that's actually kind of fair. Like, if they're trying to build a universe, like...
they weren't... They in the original, in the Whedon... Oh, not Whedon. Is it Whedon?
Yeah, Whedon.
Yeah, it is Whedon. In the Whedon cut, they fought Steppenwolf, right? It was the same, and they're also fighting Steppenwolf in this one, right?
Oh, yeah, like, all the villains and stuff are the same, but, like, they're going to show us Darkseid in the Snyder cut.
Like, they built a lot more, they hit a lot more in the Whedon cut than they did in this one, obviously. And, yeah, he had 4 movies, which was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, and Justice League 2, or whatever.
No, I think he had a 4-movie plan for Justice League movies.
Oh, okay.
Like, they were confirmed for a sequel, but I think he had other plans beyond that. But if he made a 4-hour cut of this movie, knowing he's not going to do whatever's coming next, like, why not alter that ending a little bit, just so it's a more, like, fully realized idea, instead of like, oh yeah, here's where it would have been going.
I mean, yes, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like, you already have that cliffhanger of, like, the DC fans and the people who are actually going to watch this cut are, like, all about Darkseid and know that he's going to eventually be coming. But, you can't really, like, that's already a cliffhanger. Like, Darkseid is a villain. Like, you unless they were to take Steppenwolf out and just have them fight Darkseid, there's not really much else they could have done with it.
Yeah, but like showing Darkseid at like the end of this, or I forget how the original cut ended, but like it's not that different than when all the Marvel movies would show us like bits and pieces of Thanos leading up to them actually dealing with Thanos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond just the massive cliffhanger, apparently it's also, so it's 2.5 hours of unseen footage, less than 5 minutes of new footage though.
Mm-hmm.
So like newly filmed. So like all those like reshoots they were talking about, they only cut 5 minutes of that.
It makes you wonder, like they did so many reshoots when Whedon took over. Like 2.5 hours of never before seen footage with only 5 minutes of newly filmed shit. Like they filmed an entire new movie when this is insane.
Well, no. So they've already confirmed there is not a single Whedon reshoot in this cut.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had 4 hours of film already. Like Snyder had a 4-hour movie worth of film. Whedon's stuff, like, so you figure if it's a 4-hour movie, there's they filmed about half an hour from Whedon's cut. Because the original movie's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So that means like about an hour of this is going to be Snyder's stuff. And then there's going to be, that means that the original cut would have been about an hour to 2 hours of Snyder's like original stuff. And then the rest would have been Whedon. So like he didn't really film that much. Like it was a lot of reshoots because it tonally changed the movie. But like time-wise, it wasn't that many minutes added to it. Snyder just has way too much film. But like, I don't know. This thing is, like, I'm going to try and watch it. There's no way I'm going to be able to watch it in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it as 4 1-hour episodes.
Honestly,
like
that's probably what I will have to do because, like I said it a million times, like, Snyder's not a good storyteller. So, like, this is going to be a very hard movie to watch. Until the end when there's action going on.
According to IMDb, yeah, the original Justice League was an hour. It was 120 minutes. It was 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So this movie is 2 hours longer with 2.5 hours of unseen footage with only 5 minutes of newly newly filmed footage. Like like I said, it just shows how much the movie they absolutely changed and took out. Even though they might not have filmed that much, how much they changed and took out with the Whedon cut over this cut. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, if Snyder had finished the original theatrical cut, it would have also only been 2 hours, or roundabout, because that's a studio decision. He just got a little more freedom for this version of it, because everything was already done, so it was technically cheaper, but I'm pretty sure they still poured a whole bunch of money into this.
Yeah, which I don't think they wanted to do initially.
No, they didn't. That's why they didn't want to do any reshoots, from what I remember, like early on. But somehow he convinced them to at least do a few. But I think like most of like the big actors confirmed they did not do any new shoots, so it must be like just something small.
Yeah.
And then the last note I had on here was apparently part of this whole thing is going to kind of like flesh out and finish up Ben Affleck's Batman arc.
Mm-hmm.
Since he's not going to be Batman anymore after The Flash.
Yeah, which sucks, because I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne and Batman. Although we didn't really get to see a lot of him as Bruce Wayne, I still thought he was good.
I mean, I think I've said it before on the show, like, Ben Affleck can play an incredibly charming character, and he never got to do that side of Bruce Wayne, like playing, like, the billionaire playboy.
Yeah.
Like, he got to walk into, like, a grumpy old man Bruce Wayne, because that's the film that Snyder wanted to make.
Mm-hmm. It is.
The closest thing we got to it was when he was at that one party and was kind of like acting tipsy while he was where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, but and the thing is, and that, like, we talked about this back when we talked about Batman vs Superman. Like, Batman wouldn't have gotten this information off of. He would have learned it himself. He's the best detective. Like, he would have known about metahumans and Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and all that before all that shit happened. Like,
I mean, the only argument there would be, like, if there weren't very large cases that would involve Gotham, he might not know about them because he's preoccupied with, you know, murderous clowns and shit in Gotham City.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the Snyder Cut comes out is it later this month or next month? I can't even remember anymore. I think it's this month. It's March.
Not gonna lie, I swore it was out already.
Let's see. I don't remember.
March 18th.
Yeah,
Okay.
so 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I will have it watched by the end of April.
I'll watch it. It comes out on a Thursday, so I'll watch it that like Friday or Saturday. Not that Friday.
Man,
I'll watch it that
it took
Saturday
you
or
2 weeks to
Sunday.
watch a half an hour fucking Superman show.
An hour and a half.
Oh, that's right. That first one was longer.
It was an hour and a half long, but it was. I honestly just forgot about Superman. Like this, I might not forget about as much. Like
You're also like 8 weeks behind on Batwoman.
5 weeks because there's only been 6 weeks of this season. But
Just saying.
That's also again like I'm not getting like I know I'll most likely get a push notification from HBO Max about Snyder Cut, and I'm like I'll watch that this weekend. I don't get notifications from the CW app about the new.
Well,
new
why don't you put
episodes.
like a little calendar notification in for like Wednesday morning or like Monday morning when the shows air?
Because I'd have to have one for Monday, one for Tuesday, and one for Wednesday. And honestly, I used to watch them all on Saturdays. Like, I used to watch them the Saturday after they aired. That would be like... Right now, I'm watching the Godzilla films. For me, it used to be watch all the CW shows that Saturday morning as I'm waking up.
But why would you need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Because
You would just need Monday for Batwoman and then Wednesday for Superman and Flash.
I thought Superman was Tuesday, or... I thought Superman
Nope,
was
it's
Monday and Flash was Tuesday.
Flash and Superman are both Tuesday. Flash is at 8, Superman's at 9.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming Legends and Supergirl will slot into like Mondays at some point.
That or Wednesdays. I think Legends used to be Wednesdays, unless they've changed that since then. And Supergirl used to be Sundays. So
Yeah, but right now it's Batwoman and Charmed, unless they move Charmed to a different night of the week.
yeah.
So I watched that. Speaking of HBO, though, I watched that Tom and Jerry movie.
I want to watch that.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I honestly mostly want to watch it because since they are releasing all these movies on HBO Max day and date of when they're out in theaters, like I want to kind of like push the numbers and show that there is an audience for this type of movie streaming. So where like maybe they'll continue it after this year. Probably not, but it's just hopeful.
Well, the Disney CEO said there's probably no going back on releasing movies they used to.
Oh yeah,
So-
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I don't think this is going away. It might not be day and date in the future, but it might not be very long between
Yeah.
theatrical release and on their stream service.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw more like Sorry, I had to sneeze halfway in that sentence. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more like of the premium rental stuff.
Which
Yeah.
I'm fine with as long as like they don't do it in the full extent that like Disney Plus did, where you needed a Disney Plus account to also be able to rent it. Just give me the rental fee, like they did.
Also,
with,
$30 rentals are too much.
yeah, Disney, you were really like you were idiots. Like for a bad movie as well. On top of that, you're just morons when it came to that. Like you fucked up.
They're Disney though. They're going to charge extra for stuff just based on the name. It's like Nintendo.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It was like, because like at the same time, if it's a family movie, especially like I had friends who were complaining about it. I'm like, but if you went to the movies, it would be you, your wife, and your son, which would cost you upwards of $30. So you are spending the same, if not less, money to have a personal viewing of this movie until it comes out officially on Disney Plus in December. Like you can always watch it. It's not just a one-day rental. Like
Yeah, but like, I don't know about you, but like there are very few movies that I'm going to watch in the theater and then watch again in the theater, which is kind of the same thing. Like if I rent a movie, I'm not watching it twice. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. But like, the argument is like if you own this movie essentially, like you can watch it from here until forever, but it's only It's only free for people after like December. I think it's available now on Disney Plus. Mulan is in January. That's when it was available.
And you know what? Like that's a little bit different,
Yeah.
but at the same time, again, like I didn't think it was worth $30
Yeah.
to watch a movie that I would only watch once.
Yeah, and your experience would just be you and Erica, which would only cost you about $20 for the movie tickets. Like everything else, like don't even bother tacking that on because we're just talking about the price of the movie itself. like, for him, it was him, his son, and his wife, and their other, like, they have a younger son that they'd probably bring, even though they might not have to pay for it, because how young they are. But, like, that was more for, like, it's cutting them a deal. It was cutting them a deal.
I mean, in a way, I guess, yeah, that's true. But, like, they also have to pay the $7 a month for Disney Plus. So if they weren't already a subscriber to that, it's then $37.
Yes, I agree. I mean, for them, in this particular instance, they were already a subscriber anyway. They were already a subscriber. But yes, like, I agree. Like I said, Disney fucked up by making you have to both be a subscriber and pay for the movie.
Yeah, I think if it's on a subscription-only service, like, 15 to 20 is fair.
Yeah.
If it's not on a subscription service, then, like, you might be able to go a little higher than that, just based, like, depending on, like, what it's on and how long it's available for, and, like, how soon after the movie comes out. Like, if you look at, like, just, like, rentals on, like, Amazon, some of them start as high as 20, but then, like, the longer the movie's out, like, the lower the cost goes.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's, like, once, like, the home video release has been out for, like, a little while, it drops down to, like, the $3 or $4 rentals.
Yeah.
But the distributors are trying to jack up the home media purchases because they make more money off of that than they do off of any sort of rental system.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't let the rental services, like, undercut them that much if they can avoid it.
Yeah.
But as far as Tom and Jerry goes, it's available for 30 days on HBO Max, so it's available, like, basically through the month of March.
Yeah.
It was good, though. Like, don't go into it expecting, like, this, like, grade A comedy, but it has a really good cast. Like, a surprisingly good cast, actually, for the sort of movie it is.
Yeah, it's got Chloe Grace Moretz, right?
Yep. She's, like, the main character. Michael Pena.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing the blank. The Peter from fucking Deadpool 2. The guy that had no powers that signed up to be in his superhero group.
Do not remember.
I don't know the actor's name. I don't know.
I can't think of his name. But he's like the hotel manager. Michael Pena is the event coordinator. The whole thing is based around Jerry moves into a ritzy hotel in New York after kind of like fucking with Tom a bit, and this hotel is about to host like a very large scale like celebrity wedding. Just, you know, Tom and Jerry ensues from there.
Yeah.
The cool thing they did with it, which it's not super obvious right away, but once you realize it, every animal is a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like Tom and Jerry are cartoons, and then like there's like dogs and cats that aren't. Every animal is a cartoon. I think Erica called it, actually. I missed it. She said that it looked like the meat were also cartoons.
I'll have to...
So, like, at one point, they're in a kitchen, and, like, they're, like, plating food, and it looks animated, she said.
I'll have to keep an eye out when I watch it.
Oh, Ken Jeong from Community is like, the culinary and bakery manager at the hotel. So, yeah, just really good cast. You know, it's Tom and Jerry, so, like, it's them doing shitty things to each other.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a Tom and Jerry cartoon in a very long time. And I don't know if it's just I don't remember them that well, or if they just went harder in the movie. But, like, Jerry's a straight-up piece of shit. The mouse. Jerry's the mouse, in case you're not sure.
I mean, I haven't watched it since, like, the 90s. Like I might have seen, like, clips here and there or something. But, like, he's always kind of been a dick.
So, like, I always thought it was more, like, not that he wasn't a dick, but that, like, Tom was trying to get him because cat and mouse, and, like, he was just always outsmarting Tom. Kind of like the Road Runner, Wile E. Coyote, like, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, like, so Tom is trying to, like, make it as a piano-playing cat. He's being a little underhanded in the beginning. He's doing, like, he's playing music in Central Park, and has sunglasses on, and he's making it look like he's a blind cat playing piano.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Jerry comes up and just fucking ruins it for him.
Yeah.
Like, for no good reason. And then, like, he moves it, like, Jerry goes into this hotel and just starts stealing shit from people, including, like, the one lady's ring and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, like, if he's always taunted Tom anytime, like, any of his schemes had failed, and it was always, like, Jerry stealing all the food off the table and bringing it into his own little hovel. Somehow his little hole fit all that, like, giant ham hocks and shit. But yeah, Jerry's always kind of just been a jerk.
Yeah, but it honestly, it worked. It was one of those movies where, like, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but Erica and I saw, like, the cast it had, and it was like, oh, like, there's a lot of funny people in this. Like, maybe we should give it a shot.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm glad we did. It was definitely worth watching.
Yeah. Awesome.
I also found out that the original voice of Tom and Jerry was, like, the Hannah part of Hanna-Barbera.
Huh.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, not that Jerry and Tom ever had, like, a voice, but, like, the grunts and noises they make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good movie, worth watching. It's free if you have an HBO subscription, or, it's the cost of the subscription.
And if you don't have an HBO subscription, I said that during our top 5, like, it is one of the better subscription services out right now, in my opinion. And it's not expensive. It's like, what, $15 a month or something? It's worth it.
Yeah, like, honestly, it has got enough content on it that even if it's not like you keep it every month sort of thing, when new movies come out that you want to watch, like, honestly, $15 is more than reasonable cost for, like, a movie, like an on-demand movie thing. And for that price, you also get, all of the HBO shows, all the other content they're pulling in from, like, different networks, like Fresh Prince and Friends, and The Middle's on there now, I think, and Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Plus, like, all the Studio Ghibli movies, Crunchyroll stuff, all the DC stuff is on there now.
Yeah. And
like, it's a good service.
Like you said, Tom and Jerry released on the 26th, and if you think about it, Tom and Jerry is the 26th. We got the Snyder Cut on the 18th. We got Godzilla vs. Kong on the 20. I don't remember. 20-something, or maybe 30-something. I don't remember.
I thought it was like the 30th.
It might be the 30th or 31st. I have to look that up again. It's the 31st, yeah, because it comes out on a Wednesday. It's just like, so right there, you've kind of got three possibly worthwhile single $15 purchases for a month.
And then April 16th, Mortal Kombat.
There you go. So if you wait until February or March 20th, you can get all of those for $15.
That is actually true.
Like,
but just don't forget, if you get it for Mortal Kombat, Chun-Li, Street Fighter character, not going to be in this movie.
I heard that might be a fake article, because that is kind of a satire website, but still, yeah.
No. Jezebel is not a satire website.
It's
at
not.
all.
Okay.
It is a very serious feminist news report.
Okay.
But from what I've gathered, they're also they're big in making a big deal out of things that aren't a big deal.
Sometimes.
Like, not all their stuff, but they have some people that, like, that seems to be what they like to write about.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. But, like, it is not The Onion or The Hard Times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they write, and, like, they cover, like, the gamut. Like, they do a lot of political stuff, too. And,
yeah.
It's not those or anything Tucker Carlson says, so.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just somebody who didn't know anything about what they were writing about being wrong, and they at least put, like, they updated the article after everyone called them out on it and said, like, whoops, Chun-Li's not part of this universe.
Yeah.
My bad.
Whoops, we're idiots.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is next? Oh, there's gonna be a Superman movie reboot now.
Oh, so, like, they're totally canceling Superman like we've all already known and just making a new Superman movie. Well, not canceling Superman, canceling the DCEU Superman.
So that's the one thing, like all the reports are calling out a reboot. We honestly don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
All we know is that J.J. Abrams and his Bad Robot Productions are producing the movie. And then author, I'm probably going to mispronounce this name, Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be writing the script. And then it's a big deal with Coates. Like, he's a very well-respected writer in general. Like, he's written nonfiction, fiction, journalism, like articles on all the major publications and stuff. But since 2016, he's been writing comics for Marvel. So he's writing the current Captain America book since 2018, and he wrote Black Panther from 2016 till last year. But I think that volume is actually going to be picking back up soon. It was one of those books that got like a long break because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's got his foot in the door in comics, and now he's going to write a Superman movie.
Nice.
And like, I didn't care for his most recent Black Panther stuff. It was like this weird like Black Panther in space thing, and just I wasn't feeling it. But his first volume of Black Panther and then Captain America, both really good. So like the guy knows how to write superheroes.
That's an interesting concept, to get a comic book writer to write a comic book movie.
Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
And yeah,
well, I mean, I guess technically Joss Whedon did it.
Is he a comic book writer?
I mean, that's not where he started, but this guy didn't start there either. But yeah, Whedon wrote Astonishing X-Men for Marvel. He also co-wrote or what's that word when like consulted? There you go. Never mind. He either co-wrote or consulted most of the Buffy and Angel comics that came out between 2004 and 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like he's actually been involved with a lot of comics over the years.
Yeah, but that's just it's pretty sweet. Like hopefully they can like either if this is post Flashpoint and it's still the same Superman but different storyline because of Flashpoint, like hopefully they can like keep it going, make the DCEU worthwhile.
I mean, that's never going to happen, but we can hope.
Hey, yeah, I mean, they're trying, it seems.
Yeah, and Henry Cavill has apparently expressed interest in still being Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So if they wanted to use him and like scheduling works out, like I'm sure he'd be down for it. But at the same time, like I mean, they're making a new Batman. Like you might as well make a new Superman.
Yeah, like cast a new Superman and just start all fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cavill. Like I like him in other things, and he's not bad as Superman or as Clark Kent. But like the material he's been given has never been good.
Yeah.
Like if I had to put them side by side, like Tyler Hoechlin in the CW verse, way better Superman and Clark Kent than Cavill's ever gotten a chance to be.
He's such a good Superman and Clark Kent. He's so good at.
And it's like a shame. It's the content they're given.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to make to say like I can't say no. Cavill sucks as Superman because he's never really gotten to be a good Superman.
Yeah, and it's the same with Affleck and basically Batman and Bruce Wayne. Like he's never really actually gotten to be or be in his own Batman and Bruce Wayne storyline. So like we thought he was good, but we really don't get to say because of how minimal he had it.
Yeah, and like he was a good Batman. Like he played Batman the way Batman is generally going to be played. He just never really got to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of like Superman and everything, Rich, you finally got around to watching the premiere of Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
And the second episode for that matter.
Yes, I watched them both Today. And it's good. It's good. The writing's good. The acting's decent. The kids are okay. I hate that I can't quite pinpoint whether or not this is Earth Prime. And like they're making it really hard to figure that out.
Yeah, no, it's kind of frustrating because it really seems like it might not be.
Yeah, and that like kind of annoys me because they made this whole big deal of merging the universes, and now they have 3 different universes going on right now. Like,
wait, what's the third one?
Stargirl.
Oh, right. Sorry, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, Stargirl's 1. Earth Prime is 2, and then Superman and Lois is 3. Like, it's really hard to tell whether, because in episode 2, he goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and it's completely different than what it was in Supergirl.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't remember, in the first season of Supergirl, I know Lucy Lane was in it, because she was like the person in charge of the DEO when it was still in the cave, and was dating James.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think her dad was ever in it, though, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't recall.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because, like, historically, like, Lois's father is a general in the army or what have you, and he hates Superman.
Yeah.
And he does not know that Clark is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But in this show, like, they're allies. Like,
yeah.
They actually seem friendly and get along, like they have their disagreements, but like in that first episode, they have that like discussion about like, you know, Superman stuff. And then he immediately turns around and goes, "Hey, I might come by over the weekend and try and take the kids fishing."
Yeah. But it's like, that's also like maybe the relationship and dynamic changed because of Crisis, as well as like getting married and having kids, changed how like like maybe he still doesn't really like Clark, but deals with him.
No, I mean, he seems to be fine with both of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
And like that part's fine. The reason I asked is because I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if that character had been in Supergirl as a Superman detractor.
I can't remember. I can't even remember if he was in Supergirl at all.
But like, I mean, Morgan Edge is like the rich villain, let's call him, of the season.
Yeah.
And he is 1,000% different than what he was in Supergirl. Like, it's a different actor for one, who is not American the way the original actor was. And that actor went to jail at the end of season 2 or 3, whatever season he was in for Supergirl.
Yeah.
And now he is definitely not in jail. He is in charge of a bunch of stuff and seems like he's been doing stuff for years. Mm-hmm. So, not sure if that's like a crisis thing or just, again, like this is a different Earth.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to figure out. But it's like I said, it's frustrating me. Like everywhere you see, like, and most articles, it's like, yeah, this is this is Earth Prime, but like it doesn't seem like it's Earth Prime.
And honestly, no articles, like no website knows.
Yeah, no.
Like the CW hasn't confirmed it, so nobody knows. They're just assuming it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
but like we don't know. All we know is that the villain Luthor, who is not like John Cryer, is not like Lex Luthor that we've ever seen. He might not even be a Lex, but he's from an alternate Earth where Superman seems to have been evil.
Yeah.
Which I mentioned this to you earlier, like when in chat, but on Earth, so Earth 3 in the comics is the crime syndicate world where you have like the evil versions of all the heroes. So like Batman is Owlman instead. Wonder Woman is Superwoman. Superman is Ultraman. And a lot of them have like reverse things. Like Kryptonite actually makes Ultraman stronger, but the sun affects him. So like he blocks the sun out with the moon and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the villains are then heroes on that Earth, including Lex.
Yeah.
So it could be like a spin on that concept. Because like we already saw the Nazi world, so another supervillain world wouldn't be that far-fetched.
Yeah. It could even be like, what was that fighting game?
Injustice.
It could even be like, and honestly, that would be the greatest like little Easter egg of all, because the son is playing Injustice, or no, he's playing
Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Mortal Kombat
but
versus
that's
DC.
Still, it's a NetherRealms game.
Yeah, like that would be pretty great if they decided to do like an Injustice storyline, and the kid at some point ends up playing Injustice, like just like one of those little like Easter eggs or something.
Yeah, and they do give us a reasoning in the second episode too as to why the other son's name is Jordan. Mm-hmm. He's named after Jor-El.
Yeah, yeah.
So at least it wasn't just a random name they picked. They did at least have a reason for it.
Yeah, it's a good show. My head just keeps going, Earth 1? Or I mean Earth Prime, or no? Like, what is it? They destroyed the multiverse to then create a new multiverse. What the fuck? Like,
well, I mean, we knew they created a new multiverse because the last thing one of the last things you see in Crisis is all of the other universes.
Yeah.
Because they show us like what universes all of the other shows are on that aren't on the CW.
Yeah, that's why like it still makes me think like this is Earth Prime, because like they did show all those, and like they showed Titans, they showed Stargirl, and they showed Earth Prime at least. I can't remember if they showed any more.
You know what the kick would be, and like we'll find out like when it eventually happens. David Ramsey is supposed to show up on this show at some point, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So if he shows up as John Diggle from Arrow, we know it's Earth Prime.
Yeah. If
he shows up as a different character, though, then that's a different story.
Then it is most likely a different Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just to go along with Superman and Lois, it got renewed already for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently it was the highest rated premiere night on the CW since January 29th of 2019. Which was when The Flash and Roswell returned from like mid-season break.
Mm-hmm.
But that would also be... Oh, no, I guess... No, yeah, there would be one more season after that. So yeah, like, they didn't have as high of ratings for like the Crisis season, basically.
Yeah. And that would be... Because that was... what was that? Was that just Infinite Crisis? Or no?
No, that would have been Elseworlds.
Elseworlds. Which ended at the end of the mid-season break, or at the beginning of the mid-season break, like before the break. And so the Flash was coming back, and I think that was the Thinker season.
Yes.
Which,
yeah,
kind of makes sense. Like, in my opinion, it kind of makes sense that like that was like a high rated night.
But like if you think about it, like yes, that would be a high rated night. But then the season premieres in the fall were not, when like we knew it was leading into Crisis, and we knew that like Arrow and stuff were ending.
Yeah.
But it was also the best single day viewership number they have ever had on the CW app.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that.
Yeah, and CW renewed like all the other shows early too, like immediately, like before most of them even aired. Because honestly, like it's still a weird time, and it's safer to just go with what you already have, where you don't have to recast people. Well, you know, Batwoman notwithstanding, you don't have to recast people. You don't have to build new sets. Like you have an established viewership, even if it's not as high as they might like it to be.
Yeah.
Especially with 2 shows already scheduled to end from before the pandemic even happened.
Yeah.
This is just like, okay, like, we're just going to renew this show that's doing well. Like, we already have these characters, their casts, like, we can just keep this going.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Now, you said you did get to watch The Flash?
I did. I watched The Flash before we started recording, and that was a good episode. It was a sad episode, but it was a good episode.
Yeah, like, I mean, like pretty much every show this season, like on all networks, like they're not getting to start in a position where you necessarily want a show to start for a season, just because of how all the seasons got cut short last year.
Yeah.
But like for what they could have done with a premiere off of like where it ended, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like it was nice seeing Barry get to do all the different Wells impressions.
Oh,
I thought that was kind of fun.
I love Sherlock. He is my favorite.
Honestly, I just like Wells, and so if you haven't watched Flash, spoilers, like skip like 5 minutes, like right now. Like I really hope that like Tom Cavanaugh is still involved somehow.
I have a feeling he's going to be like anytime Barry jumps into his Speed Force in his head, like I'm sure they're going to do something like that. It'll be Cavanaugh.
Like I hope so, because and honestly like that'll be something. But that guy had such a good like every iteration of Wells had such a good relationship and chemistry with other characters on that show.
Yeah.
That to not have that anymore would be such a hit to that show.
It's nice that they were able to, like, even though it was the first episode, give him a good send-off with this first episode.
Yeah, and, like, obviously this was meant to be, like, the end of last season, I assume.
Yeah, or, like, probably the end of last season.
Like maybe, like, the second, or somewhere, like, in the last, like, 3 episodes, I would assume, like, would have been like, him basically sacrificing himself the way he did to give Barry speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, it was cool that they let, like, him, like, play the different versions of Wells to, like, say goodbye.
Yeah.
Because, like, you figure, like, Harry, for instance, was on 3 seasons total, I believe?
Yeah, 3 or 4. I think it was 3, because it was his last season he started to become dumb and then had to start to relearn everything again. And
that was the Thinker season. So, like, he wasn't on the 2020 season at all, but he was in the 2019 season.
Yeah. And then HR was in the Savitar season.
Yeah, which was 2016, 2017, I believe.
Yeah, and Sherlock was...
Because Savitar was season 3.
That was HR, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what season was Sherlock in? Because what was was that last season?
Yeah, no. I think that was last season.
Last season was...
No, last season was Nash.
It was Nash. I can't remember who they had Sherlock
So
with.
it would have been the 2019-2020 season.
Cicada was Sherlock.
Right, yes.
Which Cicada was 2019. Or 2018, 2019.
Yeah, because it was Cicada, then Thinker, I believe.
No, it was Cicada and then last season.
Oh, was Cicada the last one before the Thinker?
No, Cicada was the last one.
I mean, yeah, sorry, I keep saying the Thinker. Yeah,
was the last one.
It's hard to keep track of them.
Before whatever last season was. Last season was kind of all over the place. I admit it wasn't my favorite. And it sucks that they had to end it early because everything, it probably would have ended great.
Yeah, like getting to wrap up all of those loose lines last year would have definitely been better than having to play them out this year, and also having to start a season where, like, basically the whole cast is gone. Yeah. Like, with Caitlin and Cisco both, like, elsewhere, Ralph and Sue on the run because of what's-his-name got fired, and Iris stuck in the mirror world. Like, you basically the show kind of had to get carried by Barry and Wells.
Yeah.
Because, like, the other two, Charles and Allegra, like, they don't really have characters yet.
They even made that reference when Nash was talking to the council. They were like, would you just send off the JV team or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Or it was when Nash was talking to Harry while Harry was in Barry. He was like, where's the JV team? I can't fully remember. But yeah, like...
No, but there was definitely that line at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like they were... And it's true, like, they're the JV team, they're the newbies. Black Hole kind of just got shoehorned in that. I think that's... I don't know what his actual... Gravity Well or something? I don't know. And then I can't remember what her name is, but yeah, they just got shoehorned into it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm looking forward to see what this season can do. Like, honestly, like, this was the first time in a while that I feel like they brought back, like, emotion to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just, like, depression because everything's bad. Like, they had humor again. Even though, like, what was happening wasn't necessarily funny for the characters. Like, Barry pretending to be, like having to act like Wells. And Wells going through all the different characters that exist in him. Like, there was that lightness to it. It wasn't all just like, oh, yep, the world's about to end. Oh, Oliver's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm looking forward to see where it goes from there, though.
Me too.
Now changing gears entirely. You played that Valheim game?
Yes. A buddy of mine called me up on Friday night and was like, "What are you doing?" I said nothing. He said, "Let's play Valheim," and I'm like, "I don't have it." He's like, "It's $20," and I'm like, "If you promise to me that we'll play it more often than just once, sure." I've been deeply interested in this game. My PC can't run it all that great, so I've been holding off buying it. So I ended up buying it, and it is, in my opinion, fantastic. It is a Viking and Norse mythology inspired survival sandbox game. So like you have to chop down the wood, make your weapons, upgrade your weapons, make your house, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And it actually, I say it's and this is really only for people who have played these types of games would understand this explanation, but it is essentially Nordic Terraria in a way, except it's not 2D. And that's honestly one of the things I really like about it. It's not 2D. I really don't like the 2D aspect of Terraria and things.
And your PC runs it all right?
My PC runs it fine. Like I can have it to mid-tier settings. It's not a very highly graphical like required game, but like I can't play it at recommended settings, but I can play it at low settings or like kick them up a little bit, and it should run fine. But yeah, my PC runs it fine, and we spent probably started playing around 6-7 o'clock that night and played until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's so we spent a lot of time just building just like this giant, not necessarily needed to be large house. And it was so fun playing it. It's a good time. Like the mechanics are interesting. It's in open beta, or not open beta, but it's actually alpha testing, I think, still. So like you paid the $20, you're playing the alpha build.
So it's early access.
Early access. That's the word I'm looking for. So like you have to understand when you get into it that your shit's gonna delete at least once. Because they're gonna update it, they're gonna put new mechanics in it, they're gonna balance things out, and like you're gonna eventually lose your character. Which is kind of why I'm not trying to put too much time into it, because I don't want to spend 20 hours playing and then lose everything and have to put 20 hours back in. But it's got like a neat concept where like there's bosses throughout the world. In order to fight them, you have to like go find their little like altars and make a sacrifice to them, and it'll tell you like sacrifice its kin. And so like anytime you kill like animals like boars and deer and stuff, and anytime you kill like some of the goblins and things, you'll get like their head as a trophy, and you have to sacrifice the head and then fight it. So the first boss is like this deer thing. So you have to kill 2 deer, sacrifice the head, and then you end up fighting it. And it was like honestly one of the like most intense things I've done in like a game like this in a while. And like I'm playing the forest, which is kind of friggin' intense and scary. The building mechanic is a little rough to start, but once you actually get used to it and into it, you like it goes pretty quick. That like the snap twos are a little weird, and like I thought you had to build a skeleton before you can build the actual house, but it ends up you can just build the walls and just have them floating there. Basically, it's not too terrible, but there is like a physics mechanic where like if you are building like the base or the skeleton of the house, and you can't go more than like 3 pieces apart before it starts to fall. So you have to actually think about like how to support each part and each pillar and things like. Just trying to remember what else. Yeah, we didn't get really too far in it, even after playing for close to 7 hours. But yeah, it's fun. It's like one of the better like survival sandbox games I've played in a while.
Yeah, people seem to really like it. Like it's all over like Twitch. A lot of like different sites and podcasts are talking about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting what they did with the realism as well. Like you have to, in order to be able to like go to sleep on your bed. And this is one thing that I kind of am annoyed with. Like, the house we built is a 2-floor house. But, you have to have a roof over your bed in order to go to sleep. And you can, you go to sleep to just, time travel to the day. So if everyone on the server decides to go to sleep during the night, you can just make it daytime immediately, which is nice. Like, not a lot of games actually have that feature. But your bed has to be under a roof. And so if you just have, 2 floors, you're technically not under a roof, so it's kind of like they need to fix that or make that like to a point where like you could have a 2-floor house and not have to have a roof. But there's like some sense of realism where if you build a fire in your house and don't have enough like ventilation, you'll smoke out your house, and your character will start coughing and choking and dying because they can't breathe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like things like that. Like I spent probably a good hour building up like just like a sort of like quick roof to our house so that we'd be able to sleep. And like I had to get very intricate in how to set things up so that it all like it would stay. Because if one piece came up down, it would all fall apart. And so like there is some limitations to building, and it seems like we might have hit it with our house. But yeah, it definitely has some like really cool concepts and is a very, very strong like survival game and like sandboxy game. It's just like I said, it doesn't look all that great. It might have like kind of WoW-y graphics, maybe like vanilla WoW graphics.
It's probably not as bad as vanilla WoW though. Like it's what you think of as vanilla WoW.
Yeah, maybe. I'm also playing it on a lower settings. I had my draw distance is down so that there's less on screen, so I can play everything. So if my settings were all the way high, it might look a little bit better, but it's not like a graphical phenomenon at all.
I mean, none of those survival games really are.
I actually feel like graphically the Forest looks better than Valheim, and the Forest came out a lot earlier. And
well, how many people worked on the Forest? Because Valheim's like a 20-person, if it's even that big.
I'm not sure. I don't remember the development. The Forest is developed by End Night Games, which it seems like that's the only game they have.
Yeah, they don't have like their own Wikipedia or anything like that to see what their staff count is. But I mean, like, different studios make different styles too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I'm not trying to like shit it, like say it's shit because it doesn't look great. Like, there's more to games than graphics. I'm just saying, like, this is a game that is in early access and recently was released for early access. My PC can play it, but just barely. So like, it's not like the graphical amazing thing, but it's good. And it, like, there's more like get past the graphics, which I can easily. It's a fun game, and it's like it has just like it's just interesting as well. Like, in order to get the pickaxe, you need to kill the first boss, but you might not even know that there's bosses in that game until you like just randomly happen upon the altar. Like, we had to Google how to get the pickaxe, and so then it was like, oh, you have to fight the first boss, and we're like, oh, well, where's the first boss? And we had to figure out all that out, and it's like that's something that like Terraria does. And they do it really well. Like, there are bosses in that game that, like, you could play the entire time playing and not fight a boss. But, like, you go to certain points throughout the game to get to a boss and to be able to encounter them. And that's what this game is like. And it's really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, unless it came to console, like I would never actually get to play it, but everything I hear about it, it does sound like a pretty cool game.
Yeah, and it's like one thing that like I was kind of in awe about. Like I knew it was like a Nordic, like a Norse mythology inspired game, but like at one point I decided to just look up, and you just see the roots of the world tree up above you. I was just
That's
like,
cool.
I was like, oh, that's just really cool. And so I told everyone on stream on Discord, I was like, hey guys, just look up. And they're like, why? And I'm like, just look up. And they look, and I'm like, that's the world tree right there, because we're in Norse mythology. And they're like, oh, that's cool. That's pretty sweet. And like, that's just something that like, it like you wouldn't really. I didn't expect to see those details. And if you open up the map and scroll all the way out, you see like the map is huge. The area that we've uncovered is small compared to how big this map actually is. And it's just like, there's so much that you can do that like, I want to get into playing it more. But like I said, I don't want to like get 20 hours in and then lose all my shit. So like, I'm just playing whenever anybody else I know is playing, just to like have a little bit more fun.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Until like the official release and they're no longer like in the early access.
Right, because that game hasn't been in early access all that long yet either, right?
No, it's only been out like a month.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but it was one of those. I know it's gotten popular in the last month. I wasn't sure if it had been in early access for a while.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot.
It does.
Among Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, its initial release into early access. Is it even technically early access?
I think it might just be like alpha like testing, or I don't know. Like it is.
No, I'm pretty sure it is early access.
It's not the official release. That's what I'm sure of.
I mean, Steam has an early access tag on games that are early access. This game does not say early access. I'm pretty sure that game is just out. Oh, wait. Never mind. Found it.
Yeah, it was released in early access on February 2nd, 2021. Mm-hmm. The game was developed by a 5-person team.
5 people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Anything else you want to say about that, Rich?
If you like survival games, if you like sandbox games, check it out. It's really good, and it's only like $20 too, which isn't bad.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always a chance once it's out of early access, the price might go up.
Yeah, so if you're interested in it, get it now before the price goes up.
So Epic Games made a little purchase. They bought Mediatonic, which is the studio that makes Fall Guys.
Yeah,
nice.
Good for them, I guess.
Good for Mediatonic, man. Like,
yeah,
because they are also a very small team.
Yeah,
I can't remember if I'm getting them confused with somebody else or not, but I think they are just like. Oh no, I'm sorry. They have more than I thought. They have 230 employees.
Oh wow, that's.
For some reason, I thought they were like 20 to 40. Yeah, but I guess not.
I would have thought so too.
Yeah,
they've also been around since 2015.
Yeah.
What else have they made?
Well, so they did the Murder by Numbers game I talked about like a month or so ago.
Okay.
But they do a lot of web and like mobile games.
Okay.
Oh, they did How to Faux Boyfriend, the bird dating sim.
Oh, right.
Okay.
They did Gears Pop.
Oh, okay.
The Funko Pop Gears of War strategy thing.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, they got picked up by Epic Games. They tweeted out like a FAQ about the whole thing. So they confirmed that the game is going to stay on PS4, PS5, and Steam. So it's not like it's going to go Epic Game Store exclusive or anything like that. They're still bringing it to Xbox and Switch. They're actually looks like they might be leveraging the Epic side of things to try and bring some more features into Fall Guys. So they specifically mention crossplay, squad versus squad, and some of the account systems that games like Fortnite and Rocket League use. And frankly, like Epic has the clout to actually do some of that stuff, like the crossplay between PlayStation and any other fucking console.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we all know how stubborn Sony is about letting that stuff happen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like it's not going free to play. And they're not changing anything about the way the game plays. Just seems like they want to make it easier for people to play together, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's cool. And also having an account, I assume, will mean like any sort of stuff like cosmetic stuff you buy, or I don't remember if that game like keeps track of how many like crowns and stuff you get.
Yeah,
but
it does.
But like having an account system, like maybe that would mean that stuff would sync between platforms if you own it more than one place.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of cool. Like, it's good for them, if anything. And, like, Epic doesn't seem to... They don't seem like an EA, where they purchase a studio and then, like, take control of that studio and then close that studio.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like they purchase people to just make more money. So they purchase studios that are making money and give them the resources to make more money so that they will then make money.
Yeah.
Like, they did it with Rocket League, and now they're doing it with these guys. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I finished Jedi Fallen Order this past weekend.
It's about damn time, man.
Man, I didn't play it for a year. It is a very good game, though. It's a very good Star Wars story, also. Like, I definitely stopped playing at, like, the midway point, and it's definitely a game that the second half of the game gets a lot better.
Yeah.
Because, like, the story kind of picks up in the later half.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it's very much just a Metroidvania, like, with a Star Wars spin. Like, you're going to a planet, you're getting kind of through the planet, you're learning, like, a new force skill, and then you're getting different paths around that planet. And then you go back to other planets later on, or go back to planets that you've been to already with, like, your new ability, and you can then get to more parts of that planet that you couldn't get to before.
Yeah.
It is a lot of backtracking and replaying parts over again. Because the way this system's going, I forget if I talked about this a lot before. There's like 5 or 6 planets, give or take, that you go to, and you basically go to every one of them at least twice, as part of the story. And usually when you go back to them, you're going to a different part of the planet, but you're starting in the same starting spot. So you have to make your way through anything that you'd already done before. Sometimes it's easier because once you get like that like power up or like new ability on that level, it usually lets you open up shortcuts, like open up locked doors or pull down like rope or something like that was stuck on something so that you can get to later parts of the level a little quicker. It doesn't offer any fast travel though. So you always have to go from like the ship to your destination and then make your way back. And sometimes that is long and not all that fun. But every planet just basically, no matter how many enemies you defeat on them, the enemies just respawn. When you leave the planet, come back, they respawn. Or if, anytime you find like a save point, basically, the game saves there. You can spend skills points there, but you can also rest. If you rest, it refills your health and everything, but it also respawns all enemies. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to use that sparingly. Like, if your health, if you're just missing like a little chunk of health and you still have all your health packs, there's no reason to do that if you just got out of like a hard area, because you might have to go back through there in 5 minutes and deal with the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just like stormtroopers, sure, whatever. But if it's like the larger like beasts on the planets or some of like the tougher Imperial guys that have like that are more skilled against the Jedi, because they're not Inquisitors, but there's something kind of in between.
Yeah.
But like that later half of that game gets real good. Like the story gets interesting, like more interesting. You get some new characters kind of like join you later on in the game, and some of the existing characters just stop being grumpy people. So yeah,
nice. It's definitely on my radar of games to play. It's just I'm gonna wait for it to like it's on sale constantly. I'm just waiting for a good sale and for me to not have anything I want to play at the moment.
Yeah, it's honestly probably a game that you would actually definitely get into because so I personally I didn't dislike the combat. The combat was just a little too long for me in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of that game bouncing it between just regular, like normal and easy. Because like there were parts where like the challenge was fun, but then there was other times where it's like I don't want to deal with this. Like I don't want to deal with one long drawn out fight after the other. Because it's very Soulsy in the combat where it's not just a run in and like hit people with a lightsaber and like move on. It's a lot of parrying and dodging, and maybe you only get one hit every 15 seconds.
Yeah. It looks like they kind of took more reference to the original Star Wars movies, like 4, 5, and 6, when it came to combat, where it's just like kind of slower paced and single swings and not like super fancy attacks.
So you do have there's like a combo system. Like it's really just 2-button combat like most games. It's square is like your normal attack and triangle is your heavy attack.
Mm-hmm.
Triangle also uses force power. So it's not like, if I remember correctly, it's not an ability you have out of the gate. Like, you have to unlock it on the skill sheet to have, like, the force attack, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you get, like, the ability to, like, throw the lightsaber you can unlock on your skill thing. Plus just all of the force abilities, like, you can temporarily freeze people in tracks, including, like, their blaster bolts. You can deflect blaster bolts if you time your parry right. So, like, that's one of the cool, like, you can do some cool looking stuff in this game. Like, usually when it comes to, like, stormtroopers, there's range guys that are just shooting at you. And then there are, like, the guys with, like, vibro axes and stuff like that are actually coming up and, like, attacking you.
Yeah.
Those guys you normally have to, like, actually, like, parry and dodge and maybe, like, do, like, a force push or something like that to get them off balance. Or if you're just not having any of that, once you get it, you force pull them and you just pull and attack at the same time and you just stab them dead. It's great. But doing the combat where you're dodging and parrying them, and if you do, like, you know how in most games, if you hit, like, a good parry, like, it'll, like, slow down for a second and you'll, like, do, like, a special little, like, attack?
Yeah.
Doing one of those and then immediately blocking again when a blaster bolt gets fired and deflecting that back at the guy that fired it at you is always, like, a cool moment to see.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely, like, it's your kind of combat. Like, mm-hmm. You will probably really enjoy that game on just normal, or even hard for that matter, and just, like, that real, just focused, meaningful combat.
Yeah.
Where, like, even a small fight might take you a couple minutes to get through.
Yeah.
But other than that, I gave Avengers a try.
Nice. How you liking it so?
The gameplay is not all that much fun. But the characters and, like, the story are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala is just endearing and delightful.
Kamala is the best. I love her so much.
Same thing, like honestly, like all of like the heroes have been, like, they've been portrayed really well so far.
Yeah.
You kind of meet all of them, like, for a minute or two at the Avengers Day thing with, like, while you're walking around as, like, 10-year-old Kamala or however old she's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, as you, like, meet back up with them as you're, like, progressing through the story. I'm up to, what did I do? I did the first mission that Hank sends you on. To, like, it's like a city in Wyoming that you have to, like, make your way through, and then there's, like, a bunker in the back. You have to stop, like, a plane from taking off.
Okay.
It's like it's like it's a defend the point. Like, you have to keep control of 3 points.
Yeah.
Until, like, Jarvis hacks the plane or whatever.
I think I know what mission. Yeah, you're a decent way into the game. Like, it's been a while. Like, you're still trying to get the helicarrier up into the sky, aren't you?
So I think that was actually the last mission before it, because the dialogue after the mission, like when you're on the Quing jet, was something about Tony bringing the Chimera to the anthill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because once you meet up with Pym, he says, like, yeah, he can probably give you the power things you need to get the helicarrier up and running.
Yeah.
But so far, like, the only two, like, heroes I have are Hulk and Iron Man. So I haven't met anyone else yet.
You haven't gotten Widow yet?
Not yet.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's probably coming up soon.
Honestly, she's probably the next mission, or not the mission after that. Like, the next main story mission, if not the one after.
But yeah, like, the only character like, I liked Black Widow in the opening, but, like, Kamala's, like, actually the most enjoyable one to play as.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Iron Man at all.
Neither do I. Iron Man was my least favorite, and that's...
And he seems the least, like, durable.
He yeah. Shockingly enough, the guy in a suit of fucking metal armor is the weakest, like, health-wise and armor-wise. Like, he is made for long-range attacks, and the build-out I have for him is decent enough to where, like, I can complete missions easily at level cap and whatnot, but he is not my go-to character. And I don't know many people who decide to go to him. Yeah,
I think the real downside's going to be at that point when, like, the story requires you to play as Iron Man again, and Iron Man is too weak to play as, so I have to go do other bullshit with Iron Man first.
That shouldn't happen.
Well, they did it once already.
I mean, he shouldn't be too weak to play as.
Okay, well, that's good.
The levels scale to the level of the character you have to use. So, like, the character, it should, like, the story missions scale to the level of the character that you have to use if you have to use a specific character. But besides that, like, I think at one point you are, and this is, you're maybe, still, like, a couple of missions away from this, because you rescued the anthill, so you fought the giant tank, right?
I don't remember fighting a tank, no. I didn't rescue the anthill, I found the anthill.
Well, it was, like, the spider tank.
No, I haven't fought any tank.
You haven't fought that yet. Okay. So I think I might have chosen to use Iron Man in that one. I don't know, I can't remember if you can choose who to play now, but there was one mission I remember playing with him, and then it's one of the demo missions that you saw during, like, all the stuff where, like, you're fighting on the helicarrier, going to a city, and that's when, like, Thor shows up in his, Brian Blake, volunteer outfit.
Donald Blake.
That is another time where I think you might be forced to play as Tony, but those are, like, and then throughout the final mission, it jumps from character to character, if I remember correctly, but it's not too bad, and like I said, it scales to your character's level when you're playing as a character for the mission. Story missions.
I didn't know the story missions did that, because I just saw the other missions that had popped up on the map were, like there were ones that were in red that were significantly higher than what I was at. And when I'm given a choice, I just keep going with Kamala, because I don't think Hulk or Iron Man are fun.
Yeah.
Hulk
is great. Like, there's a certain way you have to use him, and you have to get used to grabbing people in order to, like, use him the best. But
I mean, I grab people all the time. I just don't look. I said this when the game came out originally, and I tried, like, the demo. Like, I don't think the combat is good.
Yeah.
It's like a less impressive, like, Arkham Spider-Man combat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it is.
I mean,
So it's a bad version of incredibly stale combat?
I mean, it's not really... I wouldn't liken it to Arkham and Spider-Man, because it's not that stiff.
But, I mean, it kind of is, though. Like, square is your regular attack, triangle is your heavy attack, circle is your dodge. You're supposed to string them together and, move around a whole bunch. Like, the difference just comes in the different characters.
But no, like, when you're playing Spider-Man or you're playing Arkham, like, your the more you hit that single enemy, your combo increases. Whereas you can punch the air in Avengers and increase your combo. Like,
so that's actively worse. That's dumb.
Well, it's to get to, like, it's like, because you might not actually, like, it in Spider-Man and in the Arkham games, like, the hero kind of jumps over to the enemy when you're punching them, whereas this is a straight up beat 'em up. Like, it is. I'm trying to think what it might be a little bit more akin to than the Arkham than those two, but it's not those two.
Well, Cobb said it's not those two, because those two actually play well.
Yeah,
it's
the worse than those two.
Good.
But,
it's boring and stale, but it's good.
But what I'm saying is, like, I don't think it's comparable to those. Like, he's comparing it to those, and I don't think it's comparable. Like, honestly, it's you guys haven't played it, but it's more comparable to, like, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance type games. Yeah, it's more like
but
those.
see, and those are also games I don't like.
And I played a hell of a lot of Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2.
Well, I mean, you haven't...
And a lot of Marvel Heroes.
But you haven't played Ultimate Alliance, like, since... Like, you didn't play the new one. You didn't have a Switch at the time when it came out.
And I had no interest in playing it, even now.
But, it's, like, that's more so what the combat style, to me, is like. I would not compare it to the Arkham games and to Spider-Man.
I mean, it feels like they were trying to emulate that combat, but, like, not all the way, so it's not as good. It's also, like, it seems like they very much made it they wanted it to be more, like, of a live service game than I think they were able to make it. Like, I know like, you can do all this stuff with people, but, like, some of the, like, story missions that are forcing you to do things that are very, like, online game based are kind of, like, they're not hard, but they're not fun either. Like, defending those 3 points while, like, the robots attack was just, it was tedious. Or like the same thing when you have to do it in the ice one, where you have to like stand on that circle while Jarvis hacks the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that stuff's not fun. Like it's hard to explain.
Oh no,
but...
I get like the game was geared to be played with people and online, and you can do all the story missions online, like with other people. It's like I understand that. Like I played the entire story, and I've played pretty much the entire game by myself, and I can understand like where you're getting at. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's like doing some of those objectives that are meant to be multiplayer, single player. It can be tedious, but like I've had some really easy instances where I was playing by myself, and then really hard instances at the same time. It's just it depends on the situation and the character you're playing as.
Yeah, and really like the thing
can
that
still be easy. It can be easy and tedious at the same time.
Well, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying like I understand what he's saying about like how like it can be tedious and annoying. I'm agreeing with him. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, I don't know, like I mentioned it when we talked about like the demo or beta or whatever they were calling it, like the fact that like you can get downed as like the player controlled person, and the game is meant to run as a live service game, so until the AI either revives you or dies too, you're just stuck.
But I don't know how often you die, but their AI is usually really quick at reviving you.
So it only happened to me in the demo, and the Hulk did not very quickly revive me.
I think in the probably 40 something or more hours, I don't know, maybe close to 100 hours that I played of that game, like I might have had one or two instances where the allies didn't come to revive me after I was knocked down. Like,
which, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, it's
like,
and it's also dependent on how many enemies are around and how they had to code the AI really smart because this game was meant to be played with multiple people, but they knew people were going to play by themselves. So, like, the AI has to know, like, oh, they go down, we have to go save them. They had to code it that way. But, like, yeah, sometimes it might not work, but it's just, I've never had a major instance, like, I've never had a time where that happened more than once while playing. And like I said, like, in my experience, it only happened, like, maybe once.
Yeah, and, like, multiplayer stuff like that is fine for, like, the strikes or whatever they call them. Like, the things that are meant to be, like, kind of, like, outside of the main campaign. But, like, games need to just stop doing multiplayer campaigns, like, online multiplayer campaigns. Because, like, if somebody wants to legitimately play that multiplayer, like, either them and their friend are going to have to, like, sync up to do it, and you're going to make sure that your friend isn't one of those people that hates story and wants to skip all the cutscenes, or you're going to constantly be matchmaking with randos, and that also sucks.
I mean, yeah, like, yeah. You're gonna matchmake with randos, or like if your friend wants to skip the cutscenes, your friend's gonna like you both have to acknowledge skipping the cutscenes in order to skip it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like you run into that issue where some people want to skip cutscenes, some people don't because they want to experience the game. So then it just gets annoying for everybody.
Look, if you have a friend who is playing a game for the first time and skips the cutscenes, fuck that friend. They're not a good friend.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like,
I mean, this doesn't follow me anyway. Like, I'm never gonna.
But like I was playing, and we'll talk about it later, but I'll just get into it real quick. I was playing the Outriders demo with a couple of friends, and we got to a point that I had not gotten to, and so I told them, like, this is the furthest I've gotten in this demo. And like, all right, watch the cutscenes, it's fine. Like, if they're like, they'll hit the button to skip them because they've already seen it, but then they're like, oh shit, you haven't seen it yet, my bad. I'm like, look, as long as I don't hit the button, it doesn't skip, so it's fine. Like, if you have a friend who's that mad at cutscenes, they're a bad friend.
I mean, you're not wrong. I just know there's people like that.
But in a demo, fuck you.
No.
Fucking play the fucking game.
Hold on.
It's a demo.
Drew,
no, I don't care.
No, hold on. Your save transfers to the full game. So it is
that is different.
It's the beginning of the game. So I wanted to experience the first time through the character that I was using. And then every time after that, I'll skip the cutscene because I've already seen them all already. But I want to know because if I get this game, like, I don't want to have missed that stuff because I skipped those cutscenes.
All right, that's kind of fair.
So, that is different. Yeah. Like, if it's just a normal ass demo, then yes, skip cutscenes. Yeah. But if at the beginning of the game your save carries over and you're gonna get it, like, that is different.
Yeah.
As far as Avengers goes, though, like I said, like, the only thing that I'm really enjoying about it is the actual story and the characters. Like, they just did a very good job with those.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of things I don't like about it. And a lot of things that are just kind of like meh. Like what we briefly talked about it before. Like it does the games as a service where it has too many currencies. Like it doesn't have as many as some games do. Don't get me wrong. Like there are some games that are just over the top with that stuff. But like it's got a lot of currencies to try and keep track of. The skill board for the characters are a little too big and intimidating. Because I think there's 4 of them, like 4 skill trees altogether. Is that right?
There's 3 pages, and each.
Oh, there's 3 pages. Shit.
Yeah, there should be. If I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, you know what? The 3rd page is still locked from me. Like I don't have access to it.
So it is, and that's the thing. That's the thing that I kept trying to like express to you guys as you're talking about, as we talked about it in the past. Like everybody can play every character differently because of how you can customize it. Like, so initially, like all you can do is unlock the further combos, but then like my build for Iron Man utilizes the lasers. Whenever I'm playing as Iron Man, my build uses the lasers and nothing else. Whereas somebody else could make a build utilizing primarily the repulsor race, and somebody else could make a build utilizing mostly the rocket. Like everyone had like once you unlock the 3rd page and start unlocking like the customizational abilities or the customization of like your passive abilities, like it opens up a little bit more to. Like I said, I hated Iron Man, but I got him to 50, and I was working on getting his challenge card completed because I got it to a point to where like this was a nice playstyle. Which
I get that, and all I was saying was like there are too many skills to pick from. Because like right now I have the 3 like branches on the 1st page and the 2nd page to pick from, and that's a lot for like the game's levels up fairly slowly. It seems, at least where I've been so far. And like there's a lot of quality of life things that this game will hopefully patch at some point. Like not being able to buy stuff for other characters when you're not playing as them is kind of annoying.
No, you can buy stuff for other characters.
Oh, when I went to like the vendor, like they only had things for the character I was like playing as.
Because you probably haven't unlocked the other characters.
No, like if I go up to like the girl in the anthill that's selling like upgrade stuff, she only had stuff for Kamala. She didn't have things for Bruce or Tony.
I mean, I can open up every merchant and buy stuff for every character.
I'll have to look again and see if maybe I missed like a tab or something like that.
No, it's in the like. You're talking about like equipment, right? And not.
Yeah, like upgrades to equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, you should be able to buy like Tony and like you should be able to buy equipment for every character.
Maybe it's because it was just the initial where they force you to go to them that they were only showing stuff for Kamala.
It could have been. Like I'm not sure.
I don't have enough currency to buy any of their shit, so I don't go back to them right now.
Yeah. But yeah, you can buy the equipment for everyone.
Well, that's something because going into like things where like Iron Man is power 4 and Kamala's power 15. Like Iron Man's fucking useless right now.
Yeah.
So knowing that like I could buy him stuff to make him slightly less useless would be nice.
Yeah, but also like the more you use him, the more you get gear. But he like I totally agree.
I'm never going to use him.
He sucks. he is not that fun. Like him and Thor are my 2 least favorite. Like are my 2. I like Iron Man just a little bit more than I like Thor, and that's because anytime I played as Thor, he is just so squishy and just bad to control.
Yeah, Thor wasn't fun to use in the opening either. Yeah. Honestly, like I'm gonna play through the story content. Like I'm not doing any of the side missions. So I will never play as anyone but probably Kamala, maybe Black Widow.
Widow's really fun.
I liked Widow in the opening thing where you play as all of them. Cap was average. Like I didn't dislike Cap. But there's nothing like special about him.
Cap, as you upgrade him, he gets so much better because as you upgrade him, you can like target multiple things with your shield and have it ricochet.
But you get him near the end of the game, right?
Yeah, you get him. He's the last character you get besides Kate.
Like DLC characters.
Yeah, besides DLC.
Yeah, so really, like, I'll never have an opportunity to level him up because, yeah, like, the gameplay's not fun for me, so I'm not going to go do side stuff to level characters up. I just want to experience the campaign. Like I looked at the hero card. Is that what they're called? Hero cards?
Yeah, challenge cards.
Challenge cards. Those fucking things seem like they are tedious as hell.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, you do them as you play the game. Like,
well, because it's 2 dailies and 2 weeklies per character.
Yeah.
And then you have to do that to get to what, level 40 or something like that?
I mean, yeah, but it's 4 weeks. If you do every daily and every weekly for that character, it's 4 weeks.
So you get more than just like 1 point per thing.
It's 11 points for each weekly and 8 points for each day.
Okay, I think I completed 1 daily for Kamala because a lot of them, like, I don't really know what they're asking me to do on them. Like, they're asking me to like attack specific enemies or like beat them certain ways, and like I don't know which enemies those are, so I just haven't really worried about it.
I mean, that's something that I would not suggest anybody even try to bother doing during the story missions, because you won't often fight the enemies you want to focus on, and or like you might not have all the abilities leveled up. Like, you want to get your character to 50 before you even try doing the challenge cards, because that's when you have everything unlocked and you can, like, for instance, Iron Man, some of his are kill enemies with the rockets, while others are kill enemies with the lasers. So, like, if you don't have the rockets or lasers unlocked, you can't do that. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. That's like the only thing. So I almost had 2 completed. I completed 1 for Kamala, which was just like get like a 5-hit combo so many times. But then the other one, it was do something 50 times. I had done it 48 times, and when I was looking at the card, I hit the refresh button, not knowing what it did, and it reset the entire weekly category.
Yeah.
And it was gone.
That sucks.
At that point, I looked at it, I'm just like, I'm never going to do these. Like, these are tedious. I'm not coming back to this to play the characters afterwards, so I don't have to look at these anymore. And I just went back to the campaign. Because, I can't stress it enough. That campaign is wonderful so far.
It's
the characters are really good. Like, the story is, it's very comic booky, which, like, I like comic books, so that's good for me.
Yeah. It's a really good storyline, and even the DLC stuff with Kate is really good. And I'm looking forward to Clint. I think his comes out in 2 weeks. The 16th, I think it is, or something like that.
It's the 12th or the 16th, because it's right around the same time that the PS5 upgrade comes out.
Yeah, so like I will be going back to play Clint's. I might start playing it again, like once or twice a week, just to like get back to using some characters and do some of the challenge cards and stuff, and see. They haven't really updated it since Kate came out though, so there's not a lot of new or quality of life stuff they've done since.
Yeah, like I'm gonna play through the campaign, and then I like Hawkeye. Like I like both Hawkeyes, and that was kind of the reason that I even picked it up, is because I saw the Future Imperfect with Hawkeye, and I'm like, all right, that seems interesting.
Yeah.
But like maybe I'll pick it up when Spider-Man comes out, depending on when Spider-Man comes out. Like, if it's far enough away that I've had to uninstall the game from my PS5, then I won't play it, because I'm not going to re-download it because I have a data cap. But like if it's in the next like month or 2, and
I'm convinced Spider-Man's never come.
I mean, same, but like I was just using him as an example.
Yeah. He was also he's a console exclusive character, so like there's no focus on getting him out too fast. Plus,
exactly,
like,
and
he probably wouldn't really have any story stuff. He'd just be a character to play as. Like, yeah, I'm convinced he's just not coming out.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. So there was a Pokemon Direct last week.
Yeah, it was Pokemon Day was last week. Because it's the 25th anniversary.
5th anniversary.
Yeah.
So there were 2 actual announcements here.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you guys actually? Drew, it sounds like you watched it. Richie, did you watch it?
I did watch it after work that day.
So I only watched the trailers. So maybe you guys can fill in anything if I missed it here. The first announcement is that Diamond Pearl remakes with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're coming late 2021, so probably like November of this year. They don't look very good, like stylistically.
Yeah, they're mediocre at best.
Like every other generation that they've done a remake, so like Fire Red, Soul Silver, Omega Ruby, like they brought those previous games up to whatever the modern style was. Mm-hmm. So like Red and Blue became GBA games, and Silver and Gold became DS games, and so forth. This like the overworld just it looks like a higher resolution maybe of what the DS looked like, just without the dual screen portion of it. And then in the actual battles, they look like the character models from Sword and Shield. I don't know about you guys, but like that's kind of a bummer to me. And it seemed like a lot of people online were bummed out by that too.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily bummed out by it, but like I wouldn't have wanted the Diamond and Pearl remake to be like Sword and Shield exactly.
No, I wouldn't want it to be like an open world wild area thing. But like I would have been fine if it was stylistically like Let's Go, just with actual Pokemon battles instead of just the catch them.
Yeah, I don't really know what the Let's Go looked like offhand.
It looked like it, so it had the same style as Diamond and Pearl, but it wasn't as. It was more. So you know how Sword and Shield was when you were just like on like the routes where like there was tall grass. If you walked in the tall grass, you'd find a Pokemon, but you'd also see like 2 or 3 of them just out wandering. That's basically what all of Let's Go was. You know, like. You'd go through the Kanto region. It's the same Kanto region you knew, but it looked like what Sword and Shield looked like stylistically. And the only difference was when you encountered a wild Pokemon, there was no battle. It was just a catch. It was like Pokemon Go catching basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about you guys. Like I personally don't have any real fondness for Diamond and Pearl either. Like they were fine.
Yeah, like, I have played all the Pokemon games. I just have not beaten all the Pokemon games, and this is probably one of them that, like, I got, like, so far and then just stopped because I was a stupid kid that didn't have an attention span back then.
Weren't you, like, 17?
I don't know. When did Diamond and Pearl come out?
2007?
Yeah, it was... then maybe, honestly, maybe I didn't actually play this one. Because when I was still a nerd weeb gamer... Pokemon was stupid back then.
Motherfucker, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we all got Diamond and Pearl.
I don't have a memory of Diamond and Pearl at all.
Boy, it's almost like the Pokemon games are not fucking memorable at all.
No, but
you know what? Fucking Generations 1, 2, and 3 were.
But if you take our specific experience of playing, especially the Red and Blue the first time, like, what's memorable really about those games?
Nostalgia of playing Red and Blue and Pokemon?
No, like beyond our personal nostalgia. Like, what's memorable about a Pokemon?
I mean, the gym battles, really. And, like, the puzzles to get through some of the gyms, stuff like that.
Yeah, but, like, that's the puzzles I'll give you. That's maybe a little bit different. But, like, the battles kind of all blur together at a certain point. And
I mean, that's like any JRPG of the time. Like, turn-based battles, like, there's... Like, you might remember, like, a big boss because of, like, what that boss looked like, which is basically why you'd remember gym leaders because of maybe... Or like, the Elite Four because of the challenge that they gave you. But I feel like Generation 4 and 5 of Pokemon were, like, the two... Like, 3 a little bit. Like, because 3 was the first one that you couldn't go backwards in at all. Because there was no connection between the GBA and the original Game Boy. But, like, Diamond and Pearl and Black and White were just kind of like... I remember them existing, but I have no real, like, fondness for them. Whereas, like, X and Y, I remember, because X and Y actually had a good story as far as a Pokemon game goes.
I mean, Black and White actually had a relatively interesting story out of all of them.
Black and White was fine, but, like, X and Y was, like, the one where, like, the one guy that you see throughout the game is actually, like, 1,000 years old, and he made a mistake when he was younger, and, like, his Pokemon partner died, and...
Yeah.
Like, that one just is, to me, is very memorable. And then, like, Sun and Moon changed the whole dynamic up. So, like, that one is memorable and was different and interesting to go into. But, like, Diamond and Pearl were just, like, Diamond and Pearl were just more of the same thing we'd had for the previous 3 generations.
Mm-hmm.
It added some interesting, like, concepts. Like, I want to say Diamond and Pearl was the first one that you could pseudo-complete the Pokedex without catching all of them or having access to both games. So, like, you wouldn't get, like, the full data, but you could see every Pokemon in the Pokedex just by battling every single trainer, which was neat. Like, that was kind of a cool thing. Like, you didn't have these, like, blank spots in the Pokedex. Like, I've got no fucking clue what goes in this slot. But that was also the game with, I think, the most fucking legendaries. Because that had, I think Darkrai was actually black and white, right? Maybe? No, actually, Darkrai, I think, was Gen 4. You had the 2-version exclusives. You had Arceus. You had, what the fuck is the Giratina? Cresselia. The 3 Lake Spirits. And I think there were 1 or 2 other ones. So, like, there was close to 10 fucking legendaries in that game.
Sounds right.
Maybe more. And, like, that whole game just became legendary hunt at a certain point. Shyman, there you go, like 10, 11, I don't know. Too many in Diamond and Pearl. But I forget where I was going with that. Oh, so it's not being done by Game Freak, the brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. It's being done by ILCA, who I've never heard of before, but they apparently did. They made the Pokemon Home app,
right? Okay.
And then it looks like they've just worked with other bigger studios, probably in like a support role on different games. So like they've worked on games, but it seems like they've never like made their own game, which might be why this is sort of like not looking like visually all that good. Mm-hmm. Like they may have just spent more time making sure that like the mechanics work because Diamond and Pearl was probably a weird one to try and remake. Because you have to pull out all of the touchscreen stuff that they kind of like force fed you in that game. Because I think that was the first game where like they had all like the grooming stuff and all like the Pokemon interaction stuff that like they really encouraged you to do on the touchscreen. And like you can't do that with one screen.
Yeah.
So that might be the first like quote unquote mainline Pokemon game I don't get either version of ever. Like, at that point, like, I'll just go play Diamond and Pearl on my DS. It looks the same. What's the difference?
I went back to look up things about Diamond and Pearl, and I do remember getting Chimchar and Infernape, but I don't remember anything else about it.
Yeah, that too. Like, Diamond and Pearl and Black and White also, they had the worst fucking starters. I mean, that's complete opinion. Like, people probably like those starters. I did not.
I can't remember the starters for...
Snivy?
Oh, right.
If I remember correctly?
It had a Ninja Toad in it, wasn't it?
No, I think that was X and Y.
It's Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. Black and White.
Fire Pig, that's right.
Like, Oshawott's okay-ish. Like, I didn't really like, Fire Pig was fine, Tepig was fine, but his evolution was stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like, I remember beating, because I loved the story for Black and White and got mad that I never got Black and White 2. So I remember beating Black and White. I don't remember, like, I remember having Chimchar and Infernape. Don't remember beating Diamond and Pearl at all. Honestly, I barely have a recollection of even playing Ruby and Sapphire.
Well, you would have actually been 12, I think, when that game came out.
Something like that, yeah. 2003 in North America.
So a little older than 12.
Yeah.
Because you were a freshman, I think, in 2004, right?
I graduated in 2007, so you're asking me to do too much math.
You were a freshman when we were seniors.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow, that game came out in 2003 in North America?
Which game?
Ruby and Sapphire.
Wow.
I thought it came out a little bit earlier than that. Not much, but a little bit. Because I think Gold and Silver were like 99, and I think Crystal was like the year after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. In bigger news from the Direct, though, they announced Pokemon Legends Arceus, which actually looks kind of cool and is being worked on by Game Freak.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like it's like a or they might have even said more about it. I don't actually really remember what they said about it during the Direct, but like
so. It's apparently an open-world action RPG set in a feudal Japan-inspired version of Sinnoh, which is the Diamond and Pearl region.
Yeah.
They call it an action RPG, but then it has turn-based battles, so I don't know what the fuck that game is.
Yeah, no, that part is weird, but the fact that it looks like you can creep in the tall grass and just throw Pokeballs at Pokemon in the wild seems neat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like there's any sort of actual battle screen, like... And from what I was reading online, like, when you want to battle a wild Pokemon, you just throw a Pokeball, and the Pokemon pops out, and it attacks the wild Pokemon. Which people have been, like, talking about that rumored, like, open-world Pokemon game for years. So I wonder if this has actually been in development for a long time. Mm-hmm. But apparently the object of this is creating the first Pokedex for Sinnoh, which is kind of neat. I am a little confused how Pokeballs exist in a feudal Japan-inspired world. Because, like, those things are super technological. Like, they're turning Pokemon into energy and storing them in a tiny little ball.
Yeah, I mean, the region is inspired by feudal Japan, but not necessarily.
Well,
like,
it says the trailer said hundreds of years before Diamond and Pearl.
Okay.
So, like, it's definitely, like, old times.
Yeah, it is explicitly in the past.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, the one town they showed doesn't even have electricity.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I saw that, like, I might have been watching while I was working, and so I didn't pay full attention to this. But, like, I was just like, this isn't really, like, I'm not, like, jumping off my seat for it. It seems interesting, but, like, I'm just like, I want to see more before I get excited.
You see, this is the one that I'm actually interested in. Like, I want to see what this ends up being.
Mm-hmm.
I agree at that point. Like, I am very interested to see what that game actually is.
Yeah. It's also the first game to ever use starters from previous generations.
Mm-hmm.
So the starters that they showed are Rowlet from Sun and Moon, the owl, Cyndaquil from Gold and Silver, and Oshawott from Black and White. And then I included this because I just thought it was interesting. GameSpot put up this article where they kind of like dissected why those three may have been chosen. So Rowlet's final evolution, Decidueye, I'm assuming is how it's pronounced. He's like an archer owl. And Japan's practice of archery apparently started in the feudal era. And that character in the game, aesthetically looks a lot like Robin Hood, which also started around the same time as archery in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be where those two come from. And then, Oshawott, his final evolution is literally a samurai.
Yeah.
Like, he's got, like, samurai-looking armor parts on him, and his name is a portmanteau of samurai and otter.
Mm-hmm.
The weird one is Cyndaquil, and it felt like it might have been a little bit of a stretch on their part. His final evolution is Typhlosion in English, but in Japanese it's Bakufun, which is just like Typhlosion, could be a combination of the words blast and typhoon in Japanese. But they're saying it could also be a play on the word Bakufu, which means shogunate in Japanese, which would fit with the time period again. Or they just picked three random Pokemon that maybe people didn't use much of.
I mean, both could be possible.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that, like, they kind of, like, looked at that stuff and, like, did the research to see, like, when things actually, like, happened in like, Japanese history and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But this one's supposed to come in early 2022. I don't know if we'll see it early 2022. I feel like it's going to get pushed a little bit. Maybe, like, summer 2022.
Yeah. That I wouldn't hold my breath for early 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is a battle screen.
Is there? It didn't look like it in that trailer.
Well, it's not in the trailer. It's in. They only show it in the full presentation when they go back into talking about it. I just sent it in the chat, in our Facebook chat. There's 100% a standard 4-attack battle screen.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, wait, this is still a turn-based game? Like, what? Why?
Why not?
I'd have actually been interested in it being an action RPG, but, like, I don't think it is. Like, I'm pretty sure it's mostly a turn-based game, and it's like, well, what are you? What are you? Tell me more. I'm interested, but what, like, if you tell me you're just a turn-based game, I'm out.
I don't know. I'd be fine with more turn-based games. I like turn-based combat.
I mean, I like turn-based combat. I don't need another turn-based Pokemon.
That's fair. I get, like, honestly, it all depends on, like, what the actual concept around it is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there could be some neat story thing, but there probably won't be because it's a Pokemon game.
Yeah. Unless this game shows that it is definitely just not worth the time or money, I will most likely get this one, but we'll definitely be skipping the Diamond Pearl remakes.
Yeah.
I'm a maybe for Diamond and Pearl, and I'm a maybe for this game. I just want to see. I want to see more before I actually.
And just break out your DS and play the original Diamond Pearl. It looks the same.
I don't know if I have it. Like,
I can lend you it. I have a copy of Diamond and Pearl and Platinum.
Like, nah. I mean, if I'm gonna play it, I'll just get the updated version. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't look all that bad. Like, I was looking at side by sides, and it is like I like the look. I like the stylization that they took.
Well, you're the only person in the whole world.
I mean, I don't hate it, but it's like definitely not nearly the kind of upgrade that they've done
Also, keep in mind,
previously. With
this is going to be a $60 game.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah, for sure.
It's a $60 game that looks like a DS game.
Well, in fairness, so I just looked because I was curious. Diamond at GameStop, $60 used.
No, I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but like in 2008, like Ruby and Emerald on Game Boy Advance were like $40 fucking used.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like Pokemon games they only go up in value for whatever stupid reason.
Yeah.
But Rich, you want to talk more about that Outriders demo you played?
Yeah, so Outriders, it's published by Square Enix. I don't remember the developer. I wish I had taken that down and written that down. But it is a third-person...
It's People Can Fly.
People Can Fly. It's a third-person, over-the-shoulder, kind of cover shooter. Services game, but they're saying there's not going to be microtransactions, but I mean there's going to be. And it's a very interesting and neat concept. Basically, humans have abandoned Earth because they sent it to hell. Basically, caused it to become hell because humans are disgusting, terrible beings that destroy everything that they're around. And so they basically destroyed Earth. And 1 million people were selected to leave Earth to go inhabit a new planet called, I can't remember the name of the planet, actually. But they were sent off and they were put into like a cryogenic sleep and basically traveled for 80-something years. On takeoff, one of the ships exploded, so only 500,000 humans made it to this planet. Like I said, it took like 80-something years to get there, and once they do get there, they sent out drones to go check out the planet, make sure it is habitable, and then start inhabiting it and making life for humans. Where then just like weird shit happens and strange like anomalies take place on this planet as your character is like discovering and being the first people on it. That like cause them to actually have to run off. The enemy gets the main character gets hurt. And then you get put back into sleep for about 30 years, where then you're just awoken suddenly to just basically civil war going on, where like they tried to stop the humans from coming down to the planet because it wasn't safe. But the leaders decided to send the humans down to the planet anyway, because like fuck people, right? That's how leaders are.
That sounds about right.
It is. And so like. It goes through this whole opening situation where then eventually you get hit with this anomaly again and you get powers, and there's 4 different heroes, very like Destiny-esque in a way, where like the 4 powered are the Technomancer, who can like create like turrets and things like that, the Trickster, who's like kind of like the roguey character, like teleports and things like that, slows time, the Pyromancer, who uses fire, and the Devastator, who's essentially like the tank and like uses the earth and the ground around them and rocks and stones to like defend themselves. And it's just got like it is kind of billed as a cover shooter. And the first like beginning half hour, you're really playing it as a cover shooter. But then once you get your powers, and each character you learn heals differently, whereas the Technomancer heals every time they deal damage, whereas the Trickster heals every time they kill an enemy that they're within close range with. And their abilities give them a shield, so you have to end up being in close range. The Pyromancer, when they light enemies on fire, if they end up killing the enemy while they're on fire, they get health from that. Or if the enemy ends up dying while they're on fire, they get health. And the Devastator is close range kills, I believe. I can't remember. I haven't played as a Devastator. But it's like, each character has its own playstyle, and like, it really takes a big step away from being a cover shooter and just ends up being like a run and like gun, and like it's like a really interesting, cool concept. Like, you can play the game as a cover shooter, and there will be scenarios where if there's not a lot of enemies around, you're gonna have to play it as a cover shooter. But at the same time, when you're in like the big firefights, you like I was playing as the Trickster and they teleport. I have to teleport to the enemies, deal damage, and then like just keep blowing them up because I have to, in order for me to recover health, I have to kill them. I'll have to be close to them. It's really cool. The gunplay is good. the story is very interesting to find out that like you're awoken 30 years after being put back to sleep because you were injured, and what the Civil War is going on, and basically you have to help stop the Civil War, figure out what's going on, stop the anomalies that are causing these issues, and just help humans survive and not be extinct. And it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I was having so much fun playing this game.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It comes out like in the spring, I think, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to launch in December, but then got pushed back to April 1st, probably.
Yeah.
And you said you're thinking about actually getting it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting it. I was having that good of a time. Jordan, I think that you might be interested in this game. Check the demo out. It's not long. It's maybe like 2 or 3 hours to get through the story. One of the cool things about this game is cross-playability for story missions and junk. So on PS5, I was playing with 2 buddies who have it on their PC. And
cool.
We had to set up Discord in order to chat. There's no in-game chat service, which is nice because then I don't have to remember to mute my controller.
I mean, just go turn that setting on at the hardware level, so it's always.
I forget about it, and I'm usually wearing it at my headset anyway if I'm playing multiplayer games, so it's not that big a deal. But sometimes there might be games I'm playing multiplayer. I don't want to talk to people that I just have to remember to click it, and it's not hard to remember to click. But it is a fun game, and the crossplay was really cool because this is a game that my PC cannot run, and the guys that I'm probably mostly going to be playing this with, if I don't know anybody else that gets it, are getting it on the PC. So to be able to play this game with them, I'm excited because I basically stopped playing Monster Hunter World because it came out on PC and they got it for PC and I couldn't play it on PC. So to be able to actually do this crossplay and play these good games, I'm just hoping and fingers crossed that a lot more games do adopt the style of crossplay where I don't know how Rocket League does it, if you can play with friends when you're doing the crossplay or not. But
yeah, you can make parties across play.
So you have to make the room and they join it, and then you can just join any match. I don't know how it works.
That is how Rocket League works. There is no server list in Rocket League. Although I guess there's some tournaments and shit now that I don't know exactly how that works. My brother would definitely be able to tell you because him and some of his friends play in some of those tournaments.
Yeah.
I haven't played Rocket League in 18 months probably. Mm-hmm. But no, less than that, but only once or twice. But someone just starts a party and anyone you link your username to just a top level account. Okay. And then you can just invite, you have your friends list in the game and you can invite them.
Okay.
And you'll see what platform they're on. I'm pretty sure.
So for this, it's you create your party and you send them the code to get into the party, and you just type in the code and you jump in. So it's, okay. So it's different. They might change it. It's still the demo. I'm not sure if they'll change it, but all you have to do is make sure to be able to activate crossplay, and you create a room essentially, or you create your team and you invite the person, you give the person your code. And you get to play. And I haven't had a lot of experience with games that have crossplay to where to know how well it works. Monster Hunter definitely could have had crossplay, especially because they had rooms that you can make. Every time I played, I went into our own different kind of server, or not really server, but our own I can't remember what they called it, but our tavern essentially. Which was mine, Anthony, Shawhead, and Evans. It was only us who had access to it. We could have invited more people if we wanted to, but it was only us who had access to it. But they didn't have a way to play all of us in that room, some on PC, some on PlayStation. But this, it super excites me that this has that ability.
So, I'll say, the concept sounds pretty good. I don't like any of that developer's games.
No?
No.
I don't know what else.
They made Gears Judgment.
Yeah.
Did they?
The Gears game that nobody likes to acknowledge.
They also
not even Microsoft.
They also co-developed Fortnite, I believe, with Epic.
You're really selling me on this.
Hey, look, I'm just saying they worked on at least successful games.
I mean,
they did
Bulletstorm
the Windows
was also
ports.
fairly successful, or kind of well liked, but I don't care.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did the Windows ports for the other Gears games also.
Also, and seeing the articles that come up at the very top when you search for this game, the way, like, having server codes is the way that game is going to work, because it's not dedicated servers, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is also why it has to do a cutscene for every tiny little loading thing, apparently.
Yeah, that is, it's dumb, to go through a door, it does a cutscene to open the door, and then it still kind of loads. But it's quick loads. Like, when I was playing it solo, I wasn't noticing it more so than when I was playing with Shahid and Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, I found it fun. The game doesn't come out until April 1st. The demo is quick. If you're interested in, like, cover shooter games, give it a shot. Like, get through the very beginning intro and get to at least to have your powers and try those out before you, like, make any major judgments, because when you, like, there is a portion where you don't have powers and you're just playing as a guy who has a gun. But once you actually unlock the powers, and after you do that the first time, you can just skip the intro anytime you're playing a new character. And, like, get a feel for how each character plays. I think it's really cool that, like, each character heals differently, so...
Yeah, that's a neat little, like, difference.
Like, if you're playing as the Technomancer, you're basically sapping the life away, and so you just have to keep shooting. But other classes are, like, a little bit more strategic. So if you're going after a boss, you might want to have someone who has the Technomancer, because they also have healing ability. So, like, this way they can stay alive and keep healing themselves and then run up and heal you with their healing abilities. But yeah, it's really cool. It was really fun. I will say the dialogue is what you might expect from a company that did something like Gears of War. But it's also, it fits in the same way. Like, and me personally, I hate the male's voice, so all my characters are probably going to be female, because the male's voice kind of sucks in my opinion. But yeah, it was good. It's fun. And if you're interested in cover shooters and strange sci-fi scenarios, definitely check it out. At this point, I'm not sure if I am going to get it or not. I probably will. But I'm also, Monster Hunter comes out about a week before that, and I want both. And I don't know if I'm going to get both.
Just get both. Treat yourself.
It depends on if we get that 1,400 and my taxes done before then. We'll determine whether or not I decide to get them.
No, I said treat yourself.
That will be me treating myself. If we get that 1,400 now. Or I'll probably...
just do it anyway.
Whichever one I don't get when those two come out, the other one I'll get when I get my taxes at 1,400.
Okay, that's fair.
Probably.
So you guys want to talk about the state of play real quick?
Oh yeah, we can definitely.
Let's hammer through it.
Get into that.
There wasn't a lot of exciting stuff coming out of this. A lot of the games, like, I mean, and they kind of told us that, like, a lot of it was deep dives on games that were already announced. Mm-hmm. We did get some release dates for games though. Kenya Bridge of Spirits, which is that cool game that looks like Pixar and Studio Ghibli got together and made a video game.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming out August 24th on PS5 and PS4.
Yeah.
Returnal from Housemarque is coming out on April 30th. And I think that might be the first PS5 exclusive since launch.
And they also went in depth into that a little bit more. And the game looks...
Which they've shown some of that game previously.
Yeah, but, like, we didn't really get a, like, full sense of it. Like, now we, like, kind of fully understand that, like, it is definitely, like, kind of a roguelike shooter in a way, which has, like, a super interesting concept to me. Like, that, again, it's another game that's coming out at the, like, within the next couple months, and I'm just like, oh, man, this year has some, like, very interesting and, like, anticipated games.
It's also a very big departure for Housemarque, who traditionally do, like, the twin stick shooters. Like, they did Resogun, the PS4 launch game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested in that. And then we also got a date for Oddworld Soulstorm of April 6th, which, do people really like Oddworld games still? Or does no one know yet because it's been so long since they played one?
It's probably that.
Yeah.
It's like, I never liked them.
Yeah. Oddworld is also getting a free PS5 update for current PS Plus users.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
right, because they announced the game was going to be free for PS Plus.
Did they announce it was going to be free for PS Plus?
Yeah, like on PS5, if you're a current PS5 subscriber, you'll get it for free, I believe. I believe that's how
No,
the announcement
it
was.
was a free PS5 update for PS Plus user. That's what I just said. It's like, so it's
But
a
the game-
graphical update for PS5.
But it's also launching for PS5. You don't need an update for a game that's launching on the console.
I will search this, but I wrote free PS Plus.
Well, I honestly did not understand what you were writing there, because it's not like the game's out already, you know?
Yeah, it's coming to PS4, PS5.
Let's see. The
All
other big news I want to share with is Oddworld Soulstorm is one of your PS Plus games. Okay, so it is a PS Plus game for April 2021. PS Plus members will be able to download it for the PS5 version at no cost during that time. Okay,
Yeah.
so I had misinterpreted what they were saying, but it is a PS4, PS5 game, so I thought maybe like I had misinterpreted what they were saying.
It's similar to what they're doing with
Well,
Final Fantasy VII. I was going to say.
no, I was going to say it's similar to what they did with Bug Snacks,
Mhm.
where if
That's
if
actually
you
an even
only
better
have
one.
a PS4, you don't get it for free.
Yeah.
But if you have a PS5, get it and play it on a PS5.
Yeah, I forgot they did that with Bugs Next, because the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be free on PS Plus for PS4, but
Right.
you will not be eligible for the PS5 upgrade when that releases.
Right.
But yeah, so those 3 games got release dates. And then they showed off a game called Sifu, which is an action game. It's a kung fu game from Slow Clap, who made Absolver.
Mm-hmm.
It's an anti-roguelite. Every time you die, you revive slightly older and more skilled.
Nice.
And like that sounds kind of cool.
I liked the choreography that they were doing with the kung fu itself. That I was just like, this game
Yeah.
is like definitely up my alley in stylistic.
And it had like a cool art style. Like it was kind of
Mhm.
like blocky, but like intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, Absolver was pretty cool. I'm 99% sure it was a PS Plus game at one point.
I
And
think
you
you're
could
right.
tell it was like this studio's first game, and maybe wasn't quite as flushed out as like an established long-running studio would have done, but it definitely had cool ideas, and this definitely seems like the evolution of that game.
Yeah, it was definitely PS Plus at some point because I own it.
Yeah.
It looked like it was August 2017. It was free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. It released August 2017, and then I purchased. Yeah, so it shows that I purchased it. I know I didn't buy it though. So there's that. I don't believe I ever played it either.
You know, it's interesting enough to go give a try for a little bit, like, and see the ideas they have. But like, I didn't get super far into it.
Which that happens with studios' first games like that.
Yeah.
But this one looks cool. Sifu.
Yeah.
I didn't see a date or anything for it, so we're probably going to have to wait a while, but I'm definitely interested to see what it ends up being once it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the only other thing that I really noted about this was all the Final Fantasy VII stuff that they announced.
Yeah.
Or showed. So there's going to be a free upgrade for PS5 for the remake in June, but only if you've purchased Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is not free. It's not a free upgrade if you have the PS Plus version that's going to be free in March, or that is free in March. Apparently, though, the game may be on sale right now.
I believe it is.
So if you're interested in getting the PS5 version of it, buy it on sale now and then upgrade in June when it upgrades.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to go along with that, they are releasing story DLC featuring Yuffie from the Final Fantasy VII, who would technically be the next possible character that we could get.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It's releasing June 10th, the same day as the PS5 version. It's PS5 only DLC also. It's not going to be available for PS4 players. So they confirmed you play as Yuffie. It looks like there's some other characters that are going to be like around her. It looked like it's happening concurrently with the story though, because the one scene that they showed, she was in the Sector 7 slums, and Barrett and Tifa were talking with some people, and it looked like it was shortly after Cloud goes missing in the Sector 5 reactor explosion.
Yeah.
So
That's what I got from that. It's at least going to take place like around then, and it might be the whole game. It might just be like throughout certain points up until like the plate drops or something. Who knows for sure?
yeah, well, I think the way that they opened it was she is trying to steal something from Shinra.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming you'll be making your way, like, up to the Shinra building.
Yeah.
But you're probably starting in the slums because, that's the easiest place to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks like it could be interesting. I'm excited to see what that ends up being. And like historically, I don't care for Yuffie, but it looks like they might be giving her like a better personality for the remake.
Yeah. I was always a fan of Yuffie. I never hated her as much. So
I don't hate her. I was just not a fan. Like I never used her. I would always go get her because I just liked having all the characters, but never used her.
I think I never actually beat 7, but I think whenever I did play, she was like part of my main team.
I've also only done her like story mission thing in 7 when you go to Wutai once.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it the first time playing somehow. And then I did it like my second playthrough, and I've just skipped it every other time.
Yeah.
Which thing are you when she gets kidnapped?
Yeah, like she gets kidnapped, and Don Corneo is involved in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you meant that or the tower.
I mean, the tower too. I never did the tower.
So you never get Leviathan?
I've gotten it once or twice. I usually get the Master Materia from Emerald Weapon.
Right.
So, like, I get all the summons technically, but where were we? Oh, so after the Direct, there were some other Final Fantasy VII related things announced, but not part of the state of play.
Mm-hmm.
So they announced Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, which is a mobile battle royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems super necessary.
I will say, and I said it in our group chat, like, I think they at least have an interesting idea with the, like, guns and magic combo and, like, seeming like you're leveling up as you're playing in each match, but I wish it wasn't mobile.
Yeah.
I actually haven't watched anything for this one, so I know nothing about it. I didn't check it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle royale on mobile devices,
Mm-hmm.
so, it's probably not going to be very good.
Yeah.
But it looks like they have some interesting concepts for it.
Yeah.
The other one they announced was Ever Crisis, which this was one of the, I think both of these were actually those trademark and URLs that we talked about like a couple months ago. Ever Crisis, though, is going to reimagine the timelines of Final Fantasy VII. This is also a mobile game, keep in mind. So it's going to include the base Final Fantasy VII, Before Crisis, which was the Japan-only mobile game from, like, 07, 08.
Yeah.
Like, before smartphones, basically, when only Japan had mobile games. And then Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how Advent Children will play into this, though. Like, is it going to be a playable version of Advent Children?
What if it's just Advent Children?
Like that would actually be kind of funny.
When I heard this, and, like, I watched a video, the trailer for this, and how, like, the characters talking, it had, like, that anime style where or not even really anime style, but, like, Fire Emblem style where the character's portrait comes up and they start talking, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm like, I honestly want this. I like this idea. Like,
yeah, this one actually seems like it could be neat, and considering most of these games are at least somewhat turn-based, like it could work on a mobile device pretty well. Yeah,
I mean, I'll wait for it to come out on Switch, because it probably will, because a lot of mobile games come out on Switch.
Maybe, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It looks like, so from what they've said, though, you'll be able to choose chapters freely, so you'll be able to, like, jump between, like, the different games and timelines.
Yeah.
And it's also going to use a version of the active time battle system from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to come out sometime in 2022. And Tetsuya Nomura is actually directing it. So he is involved with the game. But a studio, Applebot, is the one's actually developing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one that I want to see more about it. Because, like, it looks like they're doing, like, a combination of, like, the world looks very much similar to, like, what Final Fantasy VII, like, original looked like, whereas the battles they showed looked a little bit more like the character models and stuff from the remake.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, like, all the dialogue is similar to, like, a Fire Emblem game or something like that, where it's like a talking head, basically, with text boxes.
And I thought that was just really cool. And the art for, I think it was Tifa is in one, like, the art for Tifa was really cool. And I'm like, this is, like, I'm totally down for this. Like I said, I don't think I've ever beaten Final Fantasy VII. I really liked Crisis Core. And so, like, I would love to play through this entire storyline again and just, like, I've seen the end of Final Fantasy VII, I've seen the end of Crisis Core and Advent Children and Dares of Cerberus, but I'd like to actually play through them myself.
Yeah, exactly. So last bit of news.
Well, come on, Cobb, you forgot a few things in that PlayStation thing.
No, I skipped all the stuff that none of us really cared about.
No, you didn't talk about Crash 5 getting a PS5 or Crash 4 getting a PS5 up.
Because that was announced like a month ago for all platforms.
But also, you didn't talk about the most important thing that they had to show was Deathloop. Like, come on.
Yeah,
now.
again, I only talked about the things we cared about.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Deathloop. They've showed it so many times at this point that game is going to be, like, game of the century. Like,
I mean, honestly, like, you should be happy I even mentioned Oddworld, because they've talked about that 1,000 fucking times, too.
They've talked about Deathloop twice as much.
I don't think they have.
I am tired of seeing Deathloop.
It's almost like we skipped it on purpose, and now you brought it up.
I'm being facetious. Let me make a joke for once. Jesus. Like...
No, it's a bad... We talked about this. It's a bad joke.
All right, then. All right, no more jokes then.
No more jokes. You're serious.
No fun.
You're serious all the time from now on.
No fun on PodQuest then. Jesus Christ.
No,
exactly.
Only good jokes. Only good jokes.
Okay,
you
right.
write down your material. Write down your material from now on, so we know when to expect you to tell a joke.
Sony Japan Studio is being shut down.
Yeah. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, I'm really surprising, honestly.
They haven't really made their own games in a long time.
I guess that's fair.
Like, Knack 2, I think, was the last game that they developed themselves. And Rich, you played the first Knack, right?
Yeah.
And said it was okay?
It was fine. It was a launch title for the PS4.
Oh shit, that was a launch game.
And it was, like, it was a cool concept, but it, like, didn't really play out the way it seemed like they were saying it was going to play out, but it was more of it felt more like a tech demo of the capabilities of the PS4 than it was an actual.
Which I think probably partial, almost kind of like Astro's Playroom. Like, that is definitely supposed to be a tech demo for what, like, the console can do, but it was, like, done well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess that's why they're keeping that team around. So, but no, like, it is a bummer. Japan Studio is, if not the oldest internal studio, one of, and, like, a bunch of people are now losing their jobs. It looks like they're keeping the business teams and the localization teams. But everyone else, it seems like, is being let go, and then they're just Asobi team are the group that makes the Astrobot games. They're just going to be maintained as a part of Sony going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the games that they have made though in the past, like they made the Ape Escape games, and Gravity Rush, and then, like we said, like Knack 1 and 2, and like a ton of other stuff like Jumping Flash and like on the original PlayStation. Honestly, like, if you can think of like a game that came out of Sony Japan, they probably had their logo stamped on it, but it was probably in some sort of like support role. Like, they technically have a credit on like the what was that Souls game that you guys just played?
Wait,
the PS5 game.
Well, the Demon Souls remake.
That. Sorry, I could not think of the name of it. They have a credit on working on that game, which was developed by Bluepoint. So like they don't really do their own games anymore.
Yeah.
So like it does make sense that Sony is disbanding it, but at the same time, it's a shame that they're not just trying to make that studio viable instead. Like, stop putting them on support roles and like localization jobs and like let them develop a game. Like,
yeah, I mean, looking at the list, it's like, oh wow, they haven't really made their own thing in forever, and it's like, all right, it kind of does make sense that they're shutting it down. But yeah, like you said, it's why not make that your big studio and give them a thing. But I wonder how many people are even at that studio.
I think it was actually still fairly big.
Okay.
Like as big as like a first party studio would be. Japan Studio. Well, so I think they may actually be one of the originals because they were founded in 1993. So before
the PlayStation.
Yeah. And actually the Wikipedia doesn't actually specify how many people are there. It had a bunch of teams though. Or it had a couple teams, I should say.
Mhm.
Oh, that's right. And, like, they were involved, like, in the Ico area. Like, they didn't make those games directly, like, that team made them. But, like, they were the studio that team came out of, I believe.
Okay.
I might be wrong there, but I think Team Ico, like, started as Japan Studio. Yeah, it was part of Japan Studio's Product Development Department 1. And then I think they don't exist anymore. Yeah, Team Ico defunct as of 2011.
Sounds
Who
about
finished? Oh, that's right. They didn't finish The Last Guardian. Somebody else did. Forgot about that. But Rich, you watched your next Godzilla movie.
Yes, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla.
So I have a question before you get started.
Okay.
Why are all of these, like, Godzilla versus, like, other type of Godzilla, why are they always one word? Like, Mecha Godzilla is one word. Space Godzilla is one word.
Probably because it is not a Godzilla from space, but it is Godzilla made in space. Or it's not a Godzilla made... it's not a Godzilla made as a robot, it's a robot Godzilla. Kind of, like, the best way to explain it, I guess, or what I'm trying to say is, Space Godzilla is not a creature from space. It is Godzilla cells that went into space that then evolved into Space Godzilla.
Wait, fucking really?
Yes.
Wow, I thought it was
like
an alien that, like, would just look like Godzilla.
No, it is an evolutionary form of Godzilla that evolved together with some form of crystal, with some crystallization in space from either, and they explain it either from Mothra flying out into space, because at the end of Mothra vs. Godzilla, they flew out into space, or in Biollante, Biollante went out into space, like turned into particles and went into space. So, like, one of those ways, a Godzilla cell went out into space and then went through, like, a black hole or something. I don't really know. It was goofy, what they did.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, but that's probably why. Like, it's not a robot Godzilla, it's a Godzilla-made robot. Or it's not a space Godzilla, it is a space-made Godzilla, if you get what I'm saying.
I do, like, the robot one is a little harder to follow, but when you follow it up with the Space Godzilla, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that could... I'm like... So you're saying, why is it Mecha Godzilla one word instead of Mecha Godzilla two words, or Space Godzilla two words?
Yeah, I guess it... Like, I understand what Richie's trying to say, I just don't know how to, like, actually say it any better than that. Because, like, I don't know that there is a better way to say it.
Like... I don't know if, like, in just linguistically in Japanese, the way it would be is one word.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. That's possible, too. There might not be an
like,
in-universe reason. It might just be, like, that's the localization for it.
Yeah, and it could also be an in-universe reason, but it could just be a localization thing. Or, because, like, I'm thinking of in, like, German, where lots of words that in, like, English, with multiple spaced out words, like German, they just smash the words together. Now that's a word. And so I don't know if that's just the case. That in Japanese, like, there's no reason for them to space it out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I just looked up Mecha Godzilla in Mecha Godzilla, the Japanese name is what I looked up, and it's Mecha Gojira is how you pronounce it. It's Mekagojira, and there's no space in that.
Yeah, so I mean, it might just be the way that, because, like, you figure in Japanese, it's probably kanji anyway.
Yeah, and
so,
it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters in kanji.
Yeah, and, like, those characters could be, like, the way that the characters break up the syllables might just make it easier to be one word.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Space Godzilla in Japanese. It's Supsugojira. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Because I believe it was Supasu,
probably.
Yeah. So it could be that, but I mean, also I could counter your question with does Spider-Man have a hyphen in his?
Yeah,
that's
like.
I mean, that is a stylistic choice.
Why does Batman not have a hyphen in his?
Stylistic choice.
So it's. I mean, you never know about naming conventions.
Like, but see, Spider-Man has actively made reference to the hyphen. Like, there have been issues where somebody will say Spider-Man and it'll be written in the text bubble as all one word, and he will say something like, I can tell you're not saying it with the hyphen.
That's weird. That's awesome.
Exactly.
But yeah, so, trying to remember. Godzilla for Space Godzilla. You can tell it wasn't as high budget as they wanted it to be, because the first half of the movie takes place on a jungle deserted island. Before Space Godzilla even arrives and before they get to a point of actually destroying things. But I sent you guys a picture, or a link. They have this, machine called the Modera, which is basically Drill Man. It has a drill nose and 2 drill arms. And they created that to fight Godzilla, but ended up using it to fight Space Godzilla. And that's how they end up killing Space Godzilla, is by, using a drill missile into him, I believe is what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. It is, the final fight is intense, insane, and bonkers. And, one of the cooler final fights in this entire series has been, or at least in this era, has been in this one. Because the way they made the Godzilla suit, he can't really move a lot. So there's actually a lot of fist fighting. But in this one, they were able to get it to work pretty decently. So, it ended up being, a nice, fun, action-y, Godzilla movie. And the whole story, it was weird. That Godzilla was just, Godzilla skin particles went into outer space, and then through radiation evolved. It was dumb because I didn't realize this until the last movie, which was, Mechagodzilla. And that was that Mickey is a recurring character in all of these in this era. And she is...
Is that like a human?
Well, this is something I haven't... It is a human. And this is something I haven't really touched on a lot. This era revolves a lot around psychic connection with Godzilla. And so apparently, at least in this world, Japan studies, kids with psychic abilities. And there's, a school for, those with ESP and stuff.
That's incredibly anime.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that this is Japan.
Yeah. And so, I never really touched on it because it wasn't really a big deal in the first one. And Biollante, they started talking about, the psychic connection, and Mickey has been in all of them. And so she's in this one, and she has a connection and a link with Godzilla, and she's working with the anti-Godzilla organization in Japan to, she's trying to, control him, whereas they're trying to, stop him or kill him if they... And it's just, in my opinion, it's an overall just fun film. It does, go a little weird with the whole explanation of Space Godzilla, and it makes you feel bad for baby Godzilla because he gets captured really early on, but then at the end you find out he has the ability, he escapes from his little crystal enclosure that Space Godzilla put him in, and he starts to learn how to control his atomic breath, which was adorable. And it was good. It was fun. It's not really much else I can say about it. It was a Godzilla movie, but it was one of the better and enjoyable Godzilla movies.
Nice.
And you're actually going to change up your pattern, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, starting this week, you're going to start watching the modern movies to lead into the newest movie?
So this week is finalizing this era with Godzilla vs. Destroyah. And then next week will be 98's Godzilla. And then the following week will be, I will watch both Kong and 2014's Godzilla. The week after that will be King of Monsters, and then the week after that will be Godzilla vs. Kong. Just to get ready for the new Godzilla movie, because I don't want to be, if I were to not do this, then I would be 2 or 3 movies into the Millennium era, and then watch, as well as also watching the new Kong, so, the new Kong vs. Godzilla, so, that's going to be my Kaiju movie for that week, and what I talk about the following week is going to be that, instead of watching 2 Godzilla movies that week.
I mean, that works out a little bit, because, you figure you get to finish up this era.
Yeah.
Watch the modern stuff.
Yeah.
And then go back and do the Millennium.
Do the Millennium, and then the era after, which only has 3 movies. But with that, I only have, give or take, 12, 13 weeks left of Godzilla.
Now, are you doing the anime cartoon ones on Netflix too?
I will do the anime ones, which there's 3 of them. The CG anime ones. I will be doing those, as well as Shin Godzilla. Which I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch. And it's like kind of a one shot, and it's kind of just insane. It's straight up more a disaster movie than a really Godzilla movie. But
So it's like what the Hollywood ones are.
Kind of, yeah. But it is insane from what I've read and seen, and they're like there's this huge lore around it that like if they were able to continue it, it would have gotten just like even more and more nuts, but they didn't continue it from there. But yeah, so I have about 13 weeks left of Godzilla. So hit up our socials and let us know what you might want me to marathon after I'm done Godzilla, because I don't know what to do next.
One Piece.
No. I mean, I've been playing around with the idea of doing like Naruto or Bleach or something, but like no, I'm talking more movie franchise wise, or movie like I could do all the Ghiblis. I could definitely easily do that because they're all on HBO Max anyway. Or like give me other like movie genres or movie series that like I might not have seen, or like might be a little bit older but are also still like kind of in the nerdy culture that like you might want me to talk about, because I'm at a loss for what to do at the end of the next 3 months.
So if you did do One Piece and you did 5 episodes a week, because you figure they're 20-minute episodes, so that's about a movie right there. You would have enough for 12 or for 16 years.
Yeah, that's why that's a no.
What?
Yeah, there are so many fucking episodes of One Piece.
There are almost 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and it's still going.
Yeah.
The manga actually just hit chapter 1,000 like a month or two ago.
And it's like,
wow.
I hear it's great, but it is a comic book like situation to me. Like, there's so much, and I don't like. Do I have to watch 1,000 episodes? Like,
yes. No, I mean there's filler that you can skip. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are. It's a Shonen Jump. There's definitely.
I mean, let's find out. Anime filler list.
Turns out there are 950 episodes of filler.
I mean, like the fact that they haven't like completed that series yet is nuts.
So it is. There are 967 episodes as of right now.
I thought you were going to say there was 967 episodes of filler, and I was like, wow, I was actually close with my joke.
Either of you like to take a guess at how many of those 967 episodes are reported filler?
I'm going to say 400.
Drew?
Ooh, I'll go 330.
You guys are so wrong. 99.
Really?
Wow. All right.
So there are still 800 episodes that you have to watch.
No, there are more filler episodes in Bleach and Naruto than there are in One Piece.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through the list. There's not even like a significant filler arc that I'm seeing in this list of episodes. It's like at most like 4 episode blocks of filler, but it's usually shorter. It's usually like 1 here, 2 there.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
That is nuts.
Holy shit.
Hey, good on them, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, I found one in the 300s, 326 to 336, so 10 episodes. That's filler.
They're flashback. I bet you they're like flashback episodes.
All right, so it looks like earlier on is when they had. I say earlier on between episodes 1 and 300. They had a handful of like longer filler arcs, but after the 300s, it's all just like handful here, handful there.
Yeah.
Damn, fucking good on One Piece.
Yeah, that's nuts, but yeah.
Yeah, episode 967 airs at the end of this month, actually. That's insane.
Reminds me, I mean, I'm gonna have Supernatural season 6 done this week, and then I'm gonna start my rewatch of My Hero, but also I have to rewatch Attack on Titan because that series ends within the next 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, you know what you could do next? All the Dragon Ball movies.
If they're not hard to come to get, I could definitely do those.
I actually think that they are all available on Funimation.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not hard to come around, like, how many are there?
So, Dragon Ball Z, there are 13. I want to say there are 5 Dragon Ball movies. There's 1 Dragon Ball GT movie, which probably isn't available anywhere. And then there's those 2 kind of in-between movies, Battle of the Gods and, or 3. Battle of the Gods, Resurrection F, and Brawly.
Yeah.
Let me see if they are still on. They are definitely available places for rent, but I think you can just watch them all with a Funimation subscription. So I mean, like, that's not too many movies.
Yeah,
it's like a
20
reasonable number.
It's 20 movies, but there's also 3 live action. 2 of them are Japanese.
So Funimation has most of the Dragon Ball Z movies. It's got movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 13. So it looks like it doesn't have. It only has 1 Cooler movie. Because Cooler is movie 5 and 6, and it cut out all of the Broly movies and Fusion Reborn.
Okay.
And I think that's probably because the Broly movies probably got big after the most recent one, and then Fusion Reborn was released in theaters not that long ago.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely look into those. One thing I'm gonna say is don't suggest the Mothra movies because I'm not gonna watch them because anytime I see Mothra, I get. Mothra's beautiful, but anytime Mothra's in a Godzilla movie, I'm not gonna watch, or I'm gonna get bored. So,
which is fair.
Yeah. So I could try Dragon Ball. I'll look into that, see if it's reasonable, because like you said, there are some missing. See if I can find them elsewhere. But also, like I said, reach out to our socials, send out other suggestions of what movie series, long-running movie series I could watch to continue with this segment of Richie watches movies, old movies.
Yeah. And with that, I think that'll probably be an episode.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And cool. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music. Subscribe to us, review us, rate us. All those things help a whole bunch. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.